Rise for the pledge. If we could stay standing for just a minute, remember our men and women in armed forces, our emergency service folks, and craziness going on in the Middle East. Thank you. Thank you for that ringing. It's a good time to silence your cell phone. Welcome everyone tonight to the July 20th regular board meeting of the Village of Highland Falls. There's two presentations tonight for the board and for the public. They're not public hearings or anything, but if you have any questions for the board, I guess we'll take them at that time at public comment. And I think one of the presenters is not here yet. So we're going to go with presentation to the village board and residents for the Dogwood. So maybe just start with intro, if you don't have it on the presentation, and the board probably wants to move the chair.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name is John Lang. Closer? Okay. I'm the urban planner for Michael DeMarco's company. We are also serviced with Krypton Engineering, and our engineer is not here tonight because it's basically a planning motion that we're trying to address. If I can just slip up here just to point out a few things. This is the parcel that we're referring to as Dogwood Lane. You can see the number of residences around it. And we tried to do a number of different layouts for the property. The biggest problem with the property is there's rock and steep slope. And when we try to meet the standard planning cookie cutter design for it, it just doesn't work. So we had submitted several other versions to the planning board, and the planning board was concerned that it would take too many variances to facilitate. So if you look at the one at the top, that was one of the ones we went through. It was kind of a loop road. Down the bottom was 3 conforming cul-de-sacs. And the one at the bottom corner was a mixture of those. So we were focusing on the layout, and the planning board recommending us going to the ZBA. And while we're preparing a layout for the ZBA, the village officials and consultants said, why don't you try to use the planned residential zone, the PRD. So our plan was developed focusing on minimizing site disturbance, particularly avoiding steep slopes, maximization of open spaces, and addressing a known stormwater issue. But first we wanted to review what the market conditions are. And in the last 20 years, the market has changed dramatically in terms of single-family homes. The National Association of Home Builders, in a publication called Shrinking Lots, written by Natalia, I can't pronounce her last name, Sinovorsky, something like that, noted that the biggest change is shifting of lots at the lower end with lots smaller than 7,000 square feet. And that, over the past 10 years, has grown by 13 percentage points. That's a really significant change. So what's driving that? Buyers are not looking to have mansions anymore. They want a average size house, and they want it for smaller lots. And the smaller lots are supplanted by having significant amounts of open space. So the way I look at it, the average buyer is not looking to maintain a huge lot, do all the grass cutting and control, and they'd like some more common amenities. So in our particular parcel, you can certainly have significant larger common open space. In these types of development, you can have 50% or more of the total lot area as open space. The runoff can be substantially minimized because you're not building more roads, you're not building more bigger size houses, you're just concentrating them in the same area. And the first thing that we looked at, and what's happening across the nation really, they're reducing the side yards. If you look at the side yards in a lot of the homes, they're not really used for active recreation. They're there for air conditioning units, outside spigots. So they don't generally provide the space that active users want, and that's what you're going to get when you narrow the side yards and expand the homes to fit those yards, and providing adequate space for parking and personal space in the rear. Each one of the homes as shown here will have a two-car garage and 2 parking spaces in front of the garage. So you have 4 parking spaces there. That's significant in several means. First of all, you're going to minimize on-street parking. And everybody has a family gathering where they're going to have some that is going to need. But I think if you could borrow a couple from the neighbor, maybe even have some auxiliary parking there, or parking on one side of the street with a sidewalk on one side of the street as well. So that's what we're trying to do here, is to make it work in a denser fashion but more efficiently. If anybody can tell me where this development is, you win a prize. It's not from this area. It's from an area where I lived. It was an area that I had a house there. If you look at the first slide, that's 2 5-foot side yards. And what's in them? Really nothing, except air conditioning units and utility lines. In the same development, that's a 5-foot yard, 2.5 feet between the houses. So the focus is on the houses and not the side yards. And in this particular case, it's not to my liking, because I moved out of there, but the idea is this is the trend that's happening. And this is a huge, huge, huge development. And the natural amenities that are there, they have a senior center with a pool, bocce courts, tennis courts, pickleball courts, so that you've got a density in the number of homes that would support that. They also have the standard gym, pool, basketball court, tennis courts for the non-seniors. So there's a tremendous amount of development here, all garnered by squeezing the houses in the side yard. This is what it looks like when you're looking down the street. I think it looks pretty good. If I had been a planner, I would have done certain things differently. I'm not a proponent in removing all the trees and replacing them with small trees. But that's what they were, this was done. And this was actually approved by Anne Arundel County in Maryland. Some of the houses will get a little bit wider, but again, the side yards do not. But you can have a variety of side yards. And again, when you look down the street, the implementation of this is that you have design articulation in each of the buildings within a common design format. In this case, they call this new, I'm drawing a blank.
Urbanism.
I'm sorry?
New urbanism.
New urbanism, there's a better term for it. I'm just drawing a blank. So the benefits are what a planner wants. You want to make the development more sustainable. You want to make it smarter growth. You want to make sure you have sufficient water, sewer, minimizing the street widths. Minimizing the street widths does what to traffic? Slows it down. This way you can allow your buses to go up and down, emergency vehicles could go up and down, or you can eliminate parking because it really isn't necessary. So depending on how you implement it, you can ensure adequate emergency access as well as simplifying snow removal. So what do we propose? We mimic the established home size in the surrounding neighborhood. If you go back to the first slide, where you saw the houses around it, they're going to be the same size houses. What we're just doing is concentrating it to make it more sustainable. We are planning specifically to fit this site, not a bunch of other sites. So if we can provide substantial open spaces, preserving the steep slopes, not just the cliffs, but other slopes, we can eliminate much of the impacts to a significant portion of the property. In fact, we reduced the area of impact by over 50%, particularly on steep slopes. So the benefit is to the HOA and to the village. You preserve the natural beauty of this site by condensing the development, and we'll show you what that will look like. We have 4.579 acres, and we propose 31 units that do fit in using the constraints and the bulk that we have predicted. And the village has always used a figure of 5.78 units to be the standard for what they are looking for. Now, a planner of standards, we have to kind of laugh at that because if it was a standard, it'd probably be 6. 5.78 is a particularly unique quote standard. The roadway here would be 24 feet of pavement within a 30-foot right-of-way, room for some on-street parking, and a fully compliant T-turnaround. What we proposed is a temporary turnaround until the road is extended to the next property when that comes up for development. So the front yard, again, from the same pictures I showed you, the front yards are 25 feet. The rear yard is 20 feet. Now, when you look at the plan, you'll notice there's huge areas beyond the rear yard. It's all common open space. Side yards, 2 at 5 feet, 10 feet between buildings. And we're proposing a building height here of 40 feet to allow a 3rd story. It's not mandated. You can have a single-story home, you can have a 2-story home, or you can have a 3-story home. The idea is we want to use the design nomenclature to make sure that we have enough design articulation to make the buildings interesting within that density. Along with that is a 40 by 40 foot park and a playground, and part of that is over the detention, not detention pond, it's underground detention of the waters in pipes. And again, we already talked about the roadway. So what does this actually look like? Here was our first sketch. I think it's interesting to see. Here are the homes on the lots on the one side. And even though we have a 20-foot rear yard, you can see you have quite a substantial area of open space behind the homes. Even more so on the other. And the detention has been designed to pick up from the lowest area all of the drainage and enter into the village municipal system. So here's the T turnaround. It's a fully compliant fire safety turnaround. If and when that development down the road goes, these parcels would be joined to those end lots. and you would go down and you would enter, have a separate, second entrance to the development. So it would basically becomes a loop. But if you look at the amount of open space, and I think you can probably see the contour lines here and the existing trees, we've just facilitated a walkway all the way around it. And because the trees are there, I don't know exactly how far you're going to be able to see. I don't think you'll be able to see the river because it's too far down, but you'll get a nice view across the neighborhood. And by the way, this is the 40 by 40 playground. So when you take my sketch and you turn it into an engineering drawing, this is what it looks like. You have your location drawing, you have the wetlands drawing, you have the tax map, then our scheme, the individual lots outlined, and then the first cut of the engineering, which you really can't see much of there. But if we zoom in, you can see there's a lot of green around the houses. And again, those are the lot lines that the engineer drew, but you've got substantially more area behind each of the houses. Again, just showing the simple sanitary sewer, stormwater sewage layout. It works out quite well. The runoff from the hill coming down the slope from the rocky cliffs will be captured in a swale and piped to the detention pond. So all the water that comes up above there will still be managed as if it was water that was from the development. So we're going to have substantial reductions in the amount going into the detention pond. And we've had conversations with the village engineer and the buildings department about the amount of water that comes down there to make sure that we're going to do it. We'll do a complete SWIP and we'll provide you all the information that you need to show that we can manage those flows. So this is my first ever rendering assisted by AI. I have to tell you, AI is not as smart as we think it is. And it took probably 40 iterations to get here. However, this is based upon the same lot size, the same house size, the same street. It had difficulty putting in the sidewalks, but we could have sidewalks on both sides or on one side, depending upon what the village would prefer. We have porches in the front, we have porches on the side. We have a pretty standard setback, but the design articulation there doesn't make it look too repetitive. So we are proposing a text amendment to the PRD zone. The text amendment just gives you further guidance on what can be done. We propose a minimum lot size of 4 acres. Why? How many other 4-acre sites are there within the village? Anybody know?
2.
Probably. Might be one other one. I think with this one and one other one. So the idea is you don't want to replicate this all over the place. You have to have a certain minimum, and that controls the number of potential PRD zones to use this. So the minimum front setback is 25 feet. Minimum rear setback is 20 feet with the asterisk saying the rear lots will appear much larger since they back into the open spaces. Side yards 2 at 5 feet on each side. Building height 40, 45 feet depending on the roof line selected and the number of stories that are being implemented. A minimum of open space of 35% dedicated to the homeowners association. No clearing of trees within the dedicated open spaces except for stormwater facilities. Parking spaces, 2 interior, 2 exterior. Again, you can have 1, 2, or 3 floors, decks and patios. We'd see them limited to probably 250 square feet, must fit in with the house design, and that's going to be unique to each house that's constructed. Among the details, architectural compatibility. They don't all have to be the same. I'm sorry. The neoclassical was the word I couldn't come up with for the style that we showed there, the neoclassical architecture. Within neoclassical, you can still have craftsmen and even in modern designs, but they all should employ multiple roof lines and peaks to give you the design articulation that we're looking for. Public water systems required, sanitary sewer systems required. All utilities will be underground. To me, that's the biggest thing in doing a new development. You don't want poles and wires visible. Adequate public road system, we talked about a right-of-way 30 feet, pavement width of 24. And again, that could be modified. Sidewalks at least on one side of the street. Complete SWIP, curbs and swales for directing and collecting the stormwater flows. We'll provide landscaping and lighting plans, and we're going to require the establishment of an HOA. Require that all the homeowners will be members of that HOA. And sprinklers. Now, the new building codes for the last 5 years are saying sprinklers in single-family homes are coming next year, coming next year, coming next year. In the development I showed you, where they have narrowed the side yards, we learned a lesson. There was a fire, and one of those houses burned to the ground. It singed the 2 houses on either side. The building was sprinkled. So how did that happen? Anybody have an idea? You don't sprinkler the garage. And the fire started in the garage and spread across the house. The interesting thing was they had a Rivian and a Tesla in the garage. Neither caused the fire. It was a 16-year-old scooter. The battery caused the fire in the scooter. So we're grappling at, should you sprinkler the garage as well to prevent these? Does that cause more of a problem, or do you invest in some other multi-layer device to keep the fire in the garage from spreading? But I just want to let you know that I have a study that shows over a 10-year period in Anne Arundel County the number of fatalities in houses that did not have sprinklers and the number of fatalities for houses that did have sprinklers. The houses with sprinklers had 0 fatalities over 10 years. So the sprinklers are what we want to do as development gets denser. But we have to tweak it a little bit. So I just wanted to let you know that that's the sort of thing that we would be working on. So that's what we proposed. And I'd be happy to answer any questions, or I don't know if the format is for us to answer, or if the mayor and the board would like to direct them. Mayor?
Thank you for the presentation. I guess we could do a couple questions now. We do have another presentation, so it's going to be a decent length meeting, but I don't want to take that away from public participation. So if anybody has a comment, just come up to the podium. We'll just try to keep it to 2 minutes. If it's a question and we don't have an answer, let's just make sure we get you guys the questions and we get the answer.
Bonnie Snow. I'm sorry, sir, I didn't catch your name.
I'm sorry.
What is your name?
Your name?
My name's
Yeah.
John Lang.
Nice to meet you, John. Forgive the sunglasses, I had a winter treatment on my eye. Are you looking for tax credit for this?
No.
No tax credit for this?
This is strictly a development funded by
Okay.
the applicant.
Okay, thank you for answering that. I do have a couple comments. I see a couple problems. It's a cute little package. With narrow streets, we had like 5 feet, 6 feet of snow last year, maybe 10 feet. I don't see trucks being able to maneuver through that T, and if your streets are too narrow, I think it's gonna be a problem in the wintertime. And, my biggest problem that those houses, it looks like Lake Street or South Street. So it's not that much of a problem. The problem I see is basically our water system. We may have enough water, but I'm not really sure. But we have issues with the underground pipes, we have issues with the plumbing. And although it has been mentioned that we may have a $10.5 million plan, that's certainly not enough. You have tried, Jimmy, to bring in more money. And it's a tough time right now. Money's very tight, and I know you're trying to bring in money to make repairs on the system, and I respect that. With 41, you say 41 units? 31 units? That's like maybe 200 more people, 250 more people. And I'm not sure that there's going to be enough parking, that they may have to park on the street. But with 251 people, maybe 300 people, maybe you'll have a family of 4, whatever. Is there enough water? I don't know if you've checked. I don't know. I don't know that the usage is going to create a problem with our current pipelines and our current plant. And I think that's a real issue. I'm not trying to be a stick in the mud, I know we want people here. Truthfully, I moved here because there's not a lot of people. I came from New York City. If I wanted a lot of people, I moved back to New York City, or I moved to Monroe. So what I want to know is what your project is going to do for the village. The taxes, you're not getting a tax credit, so we will get taxes. You're not supplying any new stores. The people here that have restaurants, they'll love to have you because there's a lot of restaurants here. I would like it if there were some stores involved. But again, and I'm not going to stay up here, my biggest issue is the water system, the water supply system, not just the water. I know I've talked to some people that are worried about the flooding. Now the storms are short and intense. And you really have to think about the water that's coming. I know because I've been flooded out. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Could I respond, Mayor?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead. Next person.
Hey, sir. Gary Lux, 48 Road. So just, I have one question. What's the demand signal for this residential community? Where did it come from? Is this just an idea that someone had, or is there an influx of people that Highland Falls should be expecting to come in and actually buy these residences? I mean, 30 to 31 residences, that's a lot. And expecting 250 to 300 people, I think, was the estimate. What's the demand signal?
I asked him.
250 is 8 people per household, just to be clear. That's an exorbitant amount.
Okay. Well, again, I just want to know, what's the demand signal? The analysis behind why this project is being formed, I guess is the question. You don't have to answer it now. I mean, it's just something to think
It's a
about.
good question.
So, thanks.
Taylor Graham, for Hill Parkway. You said you're creating a T zone at the end of it for potential development. Is your, does the people you're representing can plan this as a possible phase development if the first one goes well, or just that parcel of land surrounding it is open, so it's going to be eventually developed?
It's future.
Just for the board, my comments on it, again, 250 is 8 people per dwelling, that seems wrong amount. I do want to stress that water in our community is something we need to address. I think we all know that in the room, it's on Facebook, it's on everything. We have issues, we need to address them. When it comes to whether the system can handle it, when anyone submits a plan, variance or not, they have to go through the ecological plan of that. A developer will not create a home to which people would be liable to sue them because there is no water supply for them. The village has to be able to provide that water supply when it comes to demand. Rafts, yes, the whole Northeast deals with those problems. When it comes to groundwater and things like that, while they are concerns, we also have to talk about money for the town and how we continue to pay that. We have to be smart about development, but we also have to realize that money's gonna come in other ways. Development is one of those things. When we talk about benefit to the proposed community, what is the need for 31 houses? Do we have people ready to buy the next day? There is a housing shortage in America. There's no houses available in Highland Falls for sale probably. The ones that are, there's a reason they've been sitting for a while. But people do want to move outside of the city. Right, so I was the same way, I wanted to move outside of the city, so I but, there is a demand, but I would ask the village, do you want more families here? No. So we don't want this town.
Wait, don't.
I mean, the whole thing is, whatever you want, peace, whatever that. I want to see families come here and have children and continue to have the 5 and 6 generations of families that are sitting here today. I would like to see that, and there is no possibility for that right now. Because everyone's still living in their homes, because they love you here so much. Those are my thoughts. Yes.
Wait. Hello.
Hi, Ellen Savoy.
Where are you from?
Honduras. For the new developments, so there was the point made just now about not having homes for people moving into, and there are quite a number of short-term rentals in this town. How do we know that this new development will have that same problem? And we would just be perpetuating it by giving more houses to sit empty?
I like that. That's a good question.
Mr. Mayor, if we can people speak up a little bit?
Sure.
Get your voice out.
Speak into it.
Get your
It
voice
works.
out.
Michael Leahy. DeMarco Contracting has been a great landlord in this town. They've been responsive to any request that goes to the landlord. They have multiple properties already in town. They have guys that come if anything breaks in their apartment. They have no Airbnbs that I know of. They want to help people. They rent to people in the community, people that you go to McDonald's to and they're the workers. It's not just, it's a good company and it's a good developer that is trying to invest in our community, that is doing it out of their own pocket. So I think that's a good thing.
Duty Mount Avenue. When we come here and comment, we tend to use, drastic numbers. So I'm going to use drastic numbers. 250 residents is impossible. How about 31 units with 2 people in it? What about a retirement neighborhood? This is a beautiful development from Mr. DeMarco and the planner, and we need new developments in this community. We need more housing. We need more kids to play in Little League. We need all of that. But let's not look at 250 potential users when there could be 62 potential rooms.
Anybody else? Mr. Dunn? I'll get you one.
Edward Dunn, Craigslist. Now, we're throwing around a lot of numbers around in here. So theoretically,
We usually do.
theoretically, if you look at it in a little bit of common sense way, I don't think you're gonna have more than about 120 people in that area. You figure 4 people per household. We need housing, yes, we need housing. All you hear on the news every day is people can't afford housing. But now, if you have a house on a smaller piece of property, and it costs you less money, and you're a young family with young children, which is what you need to sustain a community, because if you don't have kids, and you don't keep having kids, and sustaining the community dies. So you got a choice here. You wanna live or you wanna die. The place is gonna be a desert, or it's gonna be thriving. And I don't believe these numbers, these 200, 258 people per household. I had 3 kids and we only had 5 people in the household. How many people are gonna have 6 kids? You know, all these people are gonna have 6 children nowadays? The average in the United States is like 1.5 children per couple. So you're talking outrageous numbers here. With respect to water, you're looking at 120 people, about 14,400 gallons a day, and that's about an equal amount in sewage. So that we have to deal with. Piping has to be dealt with, water source has to be dealt with, it's something that's attainable. But just throwing crazy numbers around, that doesn't make sense. You gotta look at the community thriving. You want the community to thrive, and you want the community to die. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, Bonnie, I'll start with you for this one, for tonight.
Thank you for that, those numbers. Okay, I'm gonna bring up something. That person who spoke that brought up the idea of who wants to move in. And I think that's very interesting because there's been a lot of new developments in Bloomingburg or Monroe. Okay, you want 140 people, fine. I want them all to be taxpayers. I don't want any house to be non-tax-paying because it's a house of worship, or because it's a government, or the government building, or because so I can give way. But nobody spoke of it. I think that question about who wants to move in is really important. Because if we get 140 people, or 31 houses with people that don't pay taxes, we're SOL.
Thank you for the comments. Just a couple quick things, because we have another presentation. We have one more in the back?
Yep,
I didn't see it.
yep.
Oh, there you go. I didn't see the hand. Come on down. Sorry about that.
Yes, Roy, 20 we moved into this village almost 40 years ago, and it was wonderful, big mature trees, plenty of room for the kids to grow up. When I look at that development, that was just such a cookie cutter, concrete city, and yes, I know we need help, we need taxes, but, and once again, the water system, our sewer system is antiquated. We're not ready for something like that, or that, at least in my opinion. I mean, the issues we're going through with our home after the flooding 3 years ago. There is nothing that's going to prevent, like, the deluge of water or all that water usage from continuing until there's solutions in place. So I'm opposed to any kind of development until realistically there are
Okay, myself, and I won't talk for the board, but I appreciate all the comments, there were some good questions. I would have to agree on some of the numbers that we throw around, and that's okay. I mean, it's public comment, so it's not necessarily a bad starting point to have these conversations. This is in its infancy, right? So this is the first night, presentation, developer comes in, looking to do something, he's had a few meetings with the planning board. If the board wanted to move forward with this, we could take some care of some of the general concerns about property, and it's a residential area, so you can't have a church, you can't have this, so it's a PRD is what is being, for us to look at, which is a planned residential development. Any planners in the room, correct me if I'm wrong. So it's not something we've ever done, to my knowledge, in the village. And some of the comments are great. I would love to have like another Ondeora Park or Satterley Grove. We just don't have the space. So we got to kind of configure a little bit. And I like what Mr. Leahy said. I do know, excuse me, I'm choking. I do know the developer because he does have properties in the community and does take care of them, very responsive to his tenants, has bought some buildings that needed work, fixed them up. That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for as a community, right? It's an older community, so we like when we get folks in here that actually care about what they're buying and want to fix it up and make it better. So if we have this, we only have a few sections of Highland Falls, the village of Highland Falls, that has this open property, so I think we have to try to look at the best way we can to maximize it. Okay, that being said, doesn't mean we're going to rush through it, and even if the board passed it in 2 months, it still has to run an entire gambit through planning and potentially zoning, and probably not so much zoning unless it was something to do outside the PRD, but they would still have to run a whole thing through the gambit of planning and all the other stuff that the planner touched on tonight, the setbacks, oh, thank you, appreciate that. The setbacks, the sprinkler systems, the fire codes, the this code to that code. So they have to go through an entire gambit. And we would have more opportunity to touch base with the planning board and go to public meetings and ask a bunch of questions. And that's important. It's very, very important. Just to touch on the water issues that we have. The water issues don't go away whether these folks come here or not. If the property stays vacant, if the property stays the way it is now, some of the folks that got up here tonight don't want me to charge $25 extra twice a year to try to fix some of these problems. The problems don't go away if I don't develop. If I just put my head in the sand and just say, I'm just going to keep sending the same bill or a higher bill to the same 1,187 users, I'm going to have to fix my way out of this if I don't get enough grants. The problems don't go away. The only way to help solve the folks that I keep going to, which are in this room, board members included, is to have more people pay in. Now, we have to do it smartly. I agree with some of the comments tonight. We have to do it smartly. But I need more people to pay into the system so I can fix it. Grants are great when you get them. Grants are great when you get them. If I don't get grants, I got to still see on Facebook about brown water. If I don't get grants, I still got to hear about filters that either work or don't work depending on who you talk to in the community. If I don't get grants, I still have the same problems. They don't go away. So we have to fix it. We're all in it together. That's what makes a village. You're all in it together, us included. So I appreciate all the comments, and if someone's got a better idea, I'm all ears. Come on up. Let's talk. I'll make an appointment. We'll have coffee. If you don't like coffee, we'll have tea. If you don't like tea, we'll have a bottle of water if you don't want to drink the water in Village Hall. I drink it, it's fine. So, we're all open. This board is open to any idea we come up with. That's why we talked about the battery storage. It was another source of revenue not to go to the same folks. Because the same folks come here, this isn't a criticism of that. It's a reality. The same folks come up and say, I don't want to pay anymore. I don't either. So you gotta think out of the box. We're gonna have to make little changes. Some of them we're gonna love, some of them we're gonna like, some of them we're not gonna be comfortable with. And if you want somebody else up here that says something different or tells you a fantasy, I'm up in 2.5 years. Clap all you want, Pat. You can put your name on the ballot. Let's go. So the problems aren't gonna go away. So, next presentation, my friend here, Tamam. Yeah.
One quick question. Excuse me, sir. Hello? One quick question. And you might not have the
Gotta
answer,
hold it.
you might not have the answer tonight. But how many units with the current zoning could you put on there? I think the public would like to know that. Do you know?
Based upon that number, which we said was a standard, it comes out to 26.
So you're gonna do 26 by right now?
Not by right. Problem is deductions for state codes, deductions for this, deductions
Yeah.
for that. But the classic number would be simple arithmetic.
Right.
And it comes out to 26.
26. So even if the PRD didn't go in, we still have that possibility of at minimum 26 units,
This is
right?
not a significant increase over that.
Perfect, thank you so much.
Turn it off. I'm afraid it won't come back on.
I was trying to fix it.
This technology only works when you can get it to work. Yeah, and we'll put it up on the website, just so you folks want to go look at it again, you can. Yeah. I didn't mention it. And come on. So, Tamam can give his own introduction, but Tamam lives in the village of Highland Falls. He does planning, and he had approached me, actually approached Trustee Olivia. We talked about it a couple meetings ago. It's just been a little hectic with some of the meetings, so we picked another hectic night. It's all right, we're busy. They don't have these presentations out at the town. You know, you could always go to the town too and do these. Don't be afraid. Sorry, Bob, I don't want to send you anything, but they love coming here, and that's great. I love everybody coming. So he just has some general stuff he wants to talk about in the village, and maybe his vision and stuff like that, and just some general stuff. Nothing's happening. Just some general, nothing's happening, nothing's, yeah, take it easy. Okay.
Can you hear me without the mic?
No, use the mic, please.
Just want to check. How about now? Hear me now? Cool. Okay. As the mayor just said, none of this is cemented. None of this is for real. None of this is going into plan. Just a quick introduction. My name's Tamam Munir. I live at 16 Eagle Valley Road. I live behind all the people on Mountain Avenue that have been, affected by the floods, and so have I. I started this process because I also was affected by it, and I wanted to see what I can envision as some possibilities, some, techniques, some interventions that I've learned in my profession. Professionally, I'm an architect, landscape architect, and planner. I work with the Port Authority. I've worked with a few different architecture firms within the city of New York. I've worked in the West Coast, in Arizona, and the last few years I was with landscape architects, and now I'm basically running my own practice. So I've been living here since the flood, even before that, and I'm not approaching any housing development ideas. I'm not going to touch, because that's, as all of you have just shown, and what I like about these conversations is that is something we as a village have to discuss and figure out. Because you're right, we do have housing issues, we have water issues, we have density issues, but what I love about what we just witnessed is that a lot of it doesn't apply to certain areas, and a lot of it's outdated. A lot of it, it's not, it needs to be catered towards the community in a lot of cases. You take what is state mandated and, by law and ADA, but then you have to, as a village, come together, in this case, and kind of hash it out. So again, you're welcome to, also attack me at the end, but this is just, again, just interpretations, and I'm mostly focusing on the urban aspects. And I'm focusing on what you see here, the resiliency, community, and mobility, planting, building materials, signage, lighting, roadway planning, design interventions, feasibility, land use, erosion control. We're going to touch upon them briefly, and you might think these are a lot of different topics, but you'll be surprised how much of it combines together to a lot of the issues we have here in the village. Again, this is my interpretation. We can discuss this as much as you want, and I'm happy to. This is what I think about and do pretty much for a living every day, and I'm sick about it. So let's start with...
Mom, I don't mean to stop you, but can the discussion that's going on in the back room please disperse? Because we're trying to pay attention here. Thank you.
So first, I'll start with village identity and materiality. As you can see, Highland Falls, at least from this signboard, we see that it was established in 1872. We have some historic photos over here, and probably have seen this, and probably have it framed in your house somewhere. But I want you to take a look at it and kind of look at what you're seeing here. Here's some more old photos, probably when you guys are maybe teenagers. I don't know. And then I want to show you this image. Now, I want you to look at this image, and I want you to look at this image. And you might notice that there's some similarities. And the similarities are that, well, you have commercial on the bottom, residential on top, you have walkability, you have diversity in materials, and you have kind of a small density. Why I show you these two is not that we need to implement what we see in these images into our village, but the fact that these images are reflective of what we already have. The top left is a neighborhood in Arizona which does not allow cars. It's a completely walkable little neighborhood. The one on the top right is a set from Back to the Future. It's a movie set. And then on the bottom is a newly planned development, actually a newly planned village in East Del Poughkeepsie. They are mimicking and they're recreating what we already have as a village. And I think that's something to be proud of when you have something that was established in 1872 and we have it recreated in 2024 in Arizona, in 1988 in a movie, and then we have a village that's literally, an hour north of us that's basically recreating what we already have. So I say, use the materials that we already have. In a lot of cases, we have a lot of building materials and buildings that are really out of date. And if you want to put an investment in, and if you own the property, you should really consider reinvesting in it. I know that's a lot to say. I come across this because I bought a house here. I was lucky to buy a house here. And as an architect, I also, did my work on it. And I find layers and layers of things of the past, which is exciting, but also scary because you come across asbestos and you come across all these other fun things. But that's what's beautiful, is because then you get to highlight what is, again, mimicked in other places by places like us. Now, going back to imagery like this and to our own, we have, as the planner before me talked about, we have neoclassical, we have art, Gothic, we have Cape, we have all these different types of architecture in our main street and our village and our neighborhoods. So how do you tie them together? One way you do that is you use materiality, like wrought iron and just lighting. And the why I say this is because you can have this uniformly all over the village, whether it is a light post, it is a signage. Why I choose this route is because it kind of harkens back to what our character of the village is. So this is one way in tying in all the patchwork of designs, even if the modern ones are there, with simple signage and materiality. This is another way we could imagine how we aesthetically look at the building storefronts we have. This allows us to consider how we do amenities outside of our storefronts. Right now we have just sidewalk and road, but maybe we have sidewalk benches, we have bike locks and whatnot. Next I want to talk about greenway. So we just talked about materiality, and again it's kind of a whole perspective of the village we're looking at. You'll notice I'm going to talk a lot about in a macro scale, and sometimes I'll zoom into micro moments in the presentation. So in this macro form, I'm showing something called greenway, that's very creative, and then I'm showing these blues as retention ponds. The reason why I am highlighting those in those locations is these are the locations we are naturally seeing water collecting, flowing, and then we have already a natural artery that kind of goes through the village as a road system. And we already see people using those those arteries for their bikes, for walking, for using scooters, for jogging. So if people are already recalling it, let's help our community and the people reclaim it, and not just be a place where you get run over by a car. This would be my interpretation as a planner of how to think about the main street. And we could do interventions like this in different areas, but again, this is one iteration of a design. And the lovely thing about design is you can keep iterating it, keep talking to people, and keep arranging it so it makes sense for everybody. So here we have our main street, and here we have the greenway cutting through the main street. As you can see, the white arrows are making the new crosswalk down by the Veterans Way and closing off what is Main Street as a walkable or a permeable street. And in the only roads we would only use for that would be to allow service vehicles or emergency vehicles, but otherwise we have to keep it as a greenway. Parking wise still will be there, but it would just be more permeable, and you would have natural locations for retention ponds. I'm sorry if it's like, can you still hear me like this? Okay, cool. And not only that, behind in certain areas we would have, instead of hardscape, we would have permeability. So you hear me say a lot about permeability, and I will show that to you, and in what form do I mean, and what is this green? Is it grass? Is it, I will get to that, but I wanted to show that as an element of how a space like this can be thought about. Another element to think about in the area, and you might be wondering what are these red dots, are rest stations. So rest stations could be thought about in the sense, or as I'm putting it, as spots where you can pull off as if you're walking, riding your bike, whatnot, to either sit, drink water, or look at what's going on in the village. So it could be one of these, it could be a combination of these, it could be all of these. But the point of this is to strategically place them in areas of the village where, hey, you know, you're coming down Mountain Avenue and you need to go to Main Street, but you don't want to go buy a bottle of water, why not drink something from the drinking fountain? Again, we would have to work on our water issues here first, but that would be something to consider. And maybe we have the thing about people not knowing what's going on in the village, but what if the signage and the shades were in parts of the village that, you know, people are probably riding through. Maybe they're in other parts of when you enter the village. These could later be hubs for if we do ever develop a further larger transportation system, like buses or whatnot. But in the meantime, they could be somewhere during the heat, we have something to quench our thirst, or just to burn snow, gonna wait for someone to pick us up, or whatever. Or to let us know what's in town. Here's some, again, interventions. Doesn't mean it has to be exactly this, doesn't mean it has to be implemented, but these are ways to think about how we deal with the water in our village. We are using a system in our village that a lot of places are going with, where it's just, you use asphalt and you use stormwater you're off to the side. But there are ways to work with that where you actually let the water soak into the ground. And that's important because when you don't allow it for it to go somewhere to infiltrate, then it just deluges onto places like Main Street, or you have the problems that we have every rainstorm. You just have huge water slides, essentially. You could call Highland Falls a water park if you want. But the way to think about it is you want to catch some of this water and you want to put it back in the ground. And in a lot of cases, this is how you replenish the aquifer, you replenish the wells that we have around here, rather than paving over it and putting parking over it. So that doesn't mean you do every slope as permeable, but you do it in strategic locations. So for instance, this is going on Mountain Avenue. You have a typical road width, you have your sidewalk, and you have your swell, which is that little curve on the side. So that's okay if you want high-speed water runoff. And this is okay if you want to allow people to quickly drive down a road. And as you know, Mountain Avenue does have pretty fast cars. Well, one way to control this is how you implement swales, how you implement trees, how you implement bike lanes or walkways. So another way to envision this is not AI generated, so it'll look kind of sloppy because it's my hand, is if you give the illusion and narrow the road using vegetation. Doesn't mean it has to completely narrow the road to an insane amount to where it's only, you know, the size of a compact car, but you do as much to feather the edges, and it gives the illusion that you have to slow down. If you ever drove along a mountainside road and you feel the trees are next to you, you naturally try to slow down because you feel like you're gonna hit the trees, right? If you go up 9W, you're not zooming up there unless, you know, you have some other things in mind. But another way to do this is the illusion of space around you. And then if you see here, this is a bike lane, but it's a bike lane that is permeable. It is the swale and it's the bike lane itself. Again, it's probably very narrow there, but it's how we would have to measure out in what areas this makes sense. Not saying that this has to happen at this exact location, but this is a way to think about these types of situations that allow rainwater runoff and exacerbate the flood issues we have. Here's what I get to when I talk about permeability. Permeable pavement is where it allows for water to infiltrate through, and this is when you don't think about asphalt, because asphalt lets water run over it. And again, it's good at quickly directing things to another area, but it's not good at letting water seep in. And if there are cracks in the asphalt and water seeps in, then it causes those weird undulations you see on the road and cracks that you see. So if you allow for the water just to go through like a sponge, then yes, you might have some natural undulations, but they actually work with the grass and the topography that you have. The left image, bottom and top there, just sample images of the product, says the bottom. The top right is actually a property that has permeable paving within the village. As you can see, Honori, private road. So people are already doing this within their own property, and that's good. And we should promote these types of things because in these moments, maybe they were flooded, I don't know, but probably not as bad as having asphalt completely bring water through. Here's just a cross-section of how permeable pavement works, one form of it. And again, it doesn't have to be this intense. It can be a little bit more simple. And again, if it's a driveway, it can just be gravel that's seeping through. Here's a lot that we usually like to have our farmers market at. Here's if you reimagine it with, again, this is not a lot, this is today morning. I know we have parking issues, but we don't have parking issues all the time, and it's usually for events. The rest of the time we see this. Why not let that soak up the water and the heat, and we could, have a more inviting space. The gentleman before us talked about retention basins and detention basins. I'd like to show you what retention ponds are. These are natural ways to collect water where they naturally are forming and allow them to actually form where we can, where it makes sense. Again, this is where you come with a geologist, an environmentalist, and you locate areas and you work with your neighbors, you work with your property lines, because sometimes your property lines will not be the same because of flooding, because of sinkholes or whatnot, but use the locations that we have to provide a natural catch basin. So this is just the other side of the same parking lot, and it's naturally declining down. And we've seen water pool in this area before. Again, what if we allowed it, what if we extended it and made it a park that actually held the water during the rainstorms, instead of, again, flooding the rest of the town? These are called, I'm gonna try to hurry up because you give me the sign. So these are raised crosswalks. This is another way and an intervention to help slow down people from speeding. It helps people to cross the street. We have elderly and we have youth here. And we are always at risk with cars speeding by and hoping that they stop. This is combining a speed bump and a sidewalk together. And these, again, you can redesign these to also help control where water goes. Bike lanes, we know what they are. So again, I would suggest if people are already using a lot of these roads to ride bikes and e-bikes, maybe provide a lane for them to use as well, so you're also not getting, there's not a conflict of traffic. This is next to the old bank and D&K. So we'd say a bike path, more vegetation, and a raised crosswalk. This is entering Highland Falls from the north end, or I guess the west end, on Mountain Avenue. Again, narrowing or making the feel of a more narrow road entering the village to slow down traffic, instead of just having signs and hoping people slow down. I'm gonna try to keep this part quick because I can make a whole presentation about this. You'd be surprised how much invasive species cause erosion and a lot of problems we have. Alloapathy, if you know what that means, is when a plant stops another plant from growing based on its compounds. And then erosion, we know that, it's when water just erodes away the soil. We have a lot of invasive species that grow here. And again, you're gonna be wondering why am I bringing this up, but this is part of the urban plan, is that you have to consider every element, as small as they are, and a lot of them you might consider weeds, but you'd be surprised how much mugwort, oriental bitter, sweet vine, and rose, multiflora rose can affect the soil, which gets loose, water runs through. Again, we got flooding issues, we have sinkholes, whatnot. Here's some other invasives we have. And then the king of them, the tree of heaven. This is all over the village. You see this thing, you kill it. Don't confuse it with the black locust, but this is a great example of a plant that will kill the other plants around it, loosen the soil, bring lanternflies, and just really weaken the foundations, like literal foundations of your house, of the roads, of the hills, and everything you have. Again, this is part of the urban plan because you have to consider plants as well and what effect they have, not just planting trees. You can plant a tree, but then you're gonna have this invasive kill that tree. So to wrap it up, there are three things I want you to take away with this and think about. We talk about grants, but use grants in the matter of how do they actually apply. The mayor's talking about there's always trying to get grants, but we have to talk about them. We have to see how they apply to us. Do we just put in new housing, or do we actually use it for other things that are smaller, maybe simpler? A guarantee. What does that mean? I say guarantees whenever a developer comes in, or if you're working with a municipality or a power company, what can we negotiate with them to get what we need with the village? Because we have a say in that. And then gather. Gathering is where we actually must gather like we're today and actually gather it as a community to handle some of these issues. Now, how do you say we do that? Do we throw money in it? No. But that's the one that we would do. So you have your tax credits to deal with asbestos removal or other kind of things that grant writers can help with. That's how you get help to amend the properties you already have. If you want to revive the town, revive the village, revive your building, that's where we can look at grants and credits. Program and funding resources. There are many available out there, like the reuse of brown sites or brownfields. Brownfields are old buildings that are abandoned or not used, and there are ways to get funding for them through the EPA. And again, this is where you gather, and this is where you guarantee that you can make something happen with either a landowner or the local municipality to actually change the development. Now, we had a housing development just shown, and we have discussions of where can we actually place things. So gathering, guaranteeing, and what was the last one? Grants. Can help us look at moments such as crosswalks where we can get them. And if, again, this is where the guarantee and the grants come in. If I bring this picture up because I once did a project in Sleepy Hollow where I was trying to get a race crosswalk going. And we were kind of going against NY DOT. And I told them, well, we can totally have a crosswalk. It's totally legal. It's allowed. And NDOT was, no, you can't. And then I showed them this engineering instruction from NDOT from 2014. So they themselves wrote this and are okay with it and will fund it. But they did not. They forgot about it themselves. So sometimes you have to remind them and guarantee that they'll do it. This is Sleepy Hollow Park, which I worked on, and I believe they're constructing that crosswalk right now. I bring up the guarantee, the grants, the gathering, because, and you talk about where can we actually reallocate, where can we reconfigure to develop. There's that school that is on Mountain Avenue. This has been brought up many times in our meetings. Well, why not redevelop something like that with the brownfield EPA loans work with the school board, work with the developer to actually reimagine what we already have and what could be once an eyesore to once be useful to us all. Now, again, the other part of group and gather and grants, you don't need to get huge contractors, you don't have to get huge engineers, but sometimes it is very community driven. And every board meeting I've been coming to, there's always talk about we need to get the community together, we need to get people together, we need to go outside, we need to do things. There are many community-driven invasive plant removal. So we have a community garden, we have a garden club, we have many people who are great at gardening. How about we get together and remove some invasives that are affecting our soils here? We have many kids, we have many people who ride bikes. Why can't we get together and redesign infrastructure together? Again, it's just chalk and paint. Erosion. Again, there are simple techniques of vegetation. Let's get together and fix the erosion issues that we have in certain areas. And that's all I have to say. At the end of the day, we can do a lot of this stuff as a community as well. So you can, as a macro scale, you can see what can be done as a vision of the place, but we can see what can be done as a group of people for the place as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And if you want to email that to the clerk, we'll put it up on the website. And I look forward to you putting together a couple of these events you talked about. Come back with a schedule.
I would love to.
Okay. Public comment on agenda items? Okay,
I'll speak on the agenda.
come on down.
I like Ron Malcolm at Harry Avenue. I'd like to speak about the agenda items because we just bypass them and we know time to speak. I know you're looking at a resolution to change B1 zoning. And with this other presentation here tonight on planned residential development, which I think is going to need a zoning change, that maybe you should consider updating the comprehensive plan. There was another zoning issue that came up with the Bank, where they were in front of the zoning board of appeals, and they were told that they have to have 50% of the first floor to be commercial. Now, it's not a wide lot, but it goes way back. And that's the issue, is that you have to have development, commercial development on Dale Avenue, I believe it is, going back to the cemetery. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And the same thing over here with Drew Avenue, that proposal has commercial going up Drew Avenue. It's, I don't think it's really needed. It should be on, the commercial should be on Main Street. So I don't know what your changes are to the B1 district, but I'd like you to consider that we don't need commercial going into residential areas because of your zoning. And there's another thing about extending the B3 zoning district. I mean, I believe there was 3 people on this board who voted to decrease the height from 75 feet to 48 feet. And you also changed it up to 50 because, well, the developers made a good argument that they need 50 feet. It's fine. But I don't see why we should extend the the time limit, you were very generous in giving that developer 3 years, and it's been 3.5 years. I don't see why.
3. 7.
Yes, it's been a long time. You know, it seems this developer wants other things, but he's not having anything approved by the planning board. And nothing is going, is he holding the village hostage for his hotel? I mean, it just makes you wonder. You know, the village taxpayer is not responsible for his investments. So, you know, don't hold us, you know, accountable for that. Also accountable for changing whole traffic pattern on the north end. You know, and this building makes me wonder, because the KFC Row or KFC Way, the Knights of Columbus, this used to be the Knights of Columbus, right? And what's, are you just giving that to the developer? Or is this gonna be landlocked, thing? Well, 15 Drew, the address here, the driveway's only 8 foot wide. So I don't see how people can come in and go out. I don't know if there's the access through, the development around. Okay, well, it's not public knowledge.
Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah.
There was at the planning board though. Because
People at the planning board can't, if you're, observers at the planning board don't get to see the plans. The planning board gets to see the plans. I didn't see. So, if there's, that's good that there'll be access to this building in or out. And you have at the June 1st meeting, you mentioned that for every developer, I don't want to be going back and changing the zoning for every developer. Well, you know, that's why I'm saying, I think you should look at the comprehensive plan and make those changes that you feel will revitalize the village and bring in tax dollars. And there was also a comment on that June 1st village board meeting, special village board meeting, where, you know, why can't, that you said, someone was said to, one of the trustees said to the developer, why don't you just build what we want versus forcing your ideas on the village. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
And I would encourage people here to attend the planning board, consolidated planning board meeting, the zoning board of appeals meeting, because the policies that this board sets, they get put into action at those 2 meetings. And that's where you really see how the things that come up, because there's a lot more when you, a development, if the parking issues come up, water issues come up, sewage, snow removal, there's a lot of things that come up at these meetings, and you find out a lot about our community. Thanks for listening. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is gonna be a slight mix. I've been Cindy Phillips, I live on Prospect Street, I've been here 23.5 years. I have a rental property, I used to have 2 of them, so as a landlord, I look at the town from that perspective, and anything that affects me affects my tenants next door. 10 years ago, I had a restaurant in town, Country Grove Cafe. Our town is antiquated, our Main Street is antiquated. The arguments that seem to happen every time I come to a meeting is that we're always talking about progress, and as somebody who had a business in town, we're antiquated. the people who have businesses in town that aren't long-term businesses suffer because we keep talking as a neighborhood about progress and making things better, but for the little person who opens a business in town, then they close a business in town, another business comes in, and then another business comes in. So as a former business owner, that cost me years to pay off the cost of having had a business in town. We've got to look at progress that way. When we talk about communities, and as a licensed real estate broker who sold specifically new construction for builders throughout Rockland, Westchester, and upstate, when I come to the meetings, I keep hearing people complain about progress. We need progress. We only have a patch of ground in the area. We only have so much space to build on, and we have people coming in and spending time, money, and energy to improve this little patch of grass that we have. And what I keep hearing is people keep talking about all the reasons why we shouldn't make things better, why we shouldn't do stuff. We have people trying to make this little patch of grass better, and I keep hearing a lot of opposition and hardly anyone talking about why things are wonderful. We just told that man who left who had this great idea, I think it's fantastic. We need more houses, we need more children, we need more places. I live on a street, we're right out around the corner. It's a nightmare, disgusting, fences falling down. We have to look at what we have and we have to make what we have better, and we're not taking care of the fact, and here it comes, 5 roosters. For 2 years, I have not been able to open my windows when the weather is warm, because every morning I hear roosters. Now there's 5. So months ago, it's not funny. It's seriously not funny. I sit here being told I need to talk to the chief, I need to talk to the mayor. I'm on 2 mayors asking for help to take care of illegal farm animals, and no one's taking care of it. 2 years. 2 years ago it started, it took a year, and it was only because I came here, I came to the mayor, I went to the mayor, I went to the police, I went to the newspaper, I went to the building department. There's no excuse for people to break the law 4 years in this town that disturbs the peace and quiet of everybody else. The law is that I own a house, you all own houses, or you rent houses. You are allowed to have peaceful enjoyment of your property. We don't have that. And now, because we didn't take care of it quickly, we now, have 5 different birds screaming 24 hours a day or until it gets dark. So as a homeowner, a landlord, a former business owner in town, and that doesn't include the drug dealers that didn't get taken care of, the dogs that barked for 10 years till he died, the people around the corner that have trashy houses, the roosters, the farm animals. It didn't take care of the guy who was crazy that made everybody's life miserable. It takes years. I submitted 3 years ago complaints against neighbors who were dumping materials, who were building things, whatever, it doesn't really matter. At this point, 3 years later, none of the complaints were handled by the building department. But when I go and ask to draw a line down my property to subdivide my houses so I can sell my house next door, I get how difficult it's going to be to draw a line down the property. That's all I want. It's 5 variances. I've asked the mayor before. He's tried to help me. So from somebody who's put tens of thousands of dollars in renovating my houses, building a business, having it not succeed, then having to pay it off, it's this bottomless pit of money, time, energy, emotion, and exhaustion. Because I come to meetings because I'm told to come, and you know what? Now there's 5 roosters. So I'm like up to here. You've seen me here before. I politely say things. I put it in the newspaper. I handed out flyers. And you know what we got? We got more of what we don't want while we're trying. And he's in agreement because he has a rooster next to his house. So it started with 1. They got rid of it after a year. 2 months later, they got another one. And now there's more. So and they're all screaming to each other. So it's not funny. Drug dealers are not funny. Dogs that bark all day long. Fireworks that go off. Music that's too loud. Garbage, falling down fences, run down houses, run down businesses. Like, I do my best as one person to maintain my little patch of grass and make it as pretty as I can. And if you were here 10 years ago, you would definitely see there's huge progress. But coming to the meetings and listening to this, spinning the wheels, we have wonderful people coming in to help. They're spinning the wheels, trying to help, and we're complaining. We should welcome this. So I am hoping that I don't have to come back to another meeting about another rooster, because the people who get paid to fix sheep are not fixing shit. I know you guys wanna help me, so thank you for listening, but this is a multi-level issue. So I love that people wanna welcome the people coming in to make this community better. I love that people care enough to come to meetings every week, because I don't, because I work so much. But I love to see the faces come in here and comment, and I love that the mayor is always, and I saw her in the supermarket, I've talked to you about this before, I've seen you, and you listen, and seriously, as one person, one of my worst decisions I ever made was buy a house in this town. And that's coming from homeowner, landlord, and business owner. So I'm hoping that the people listening here genuinely open their hearts to progress, open their hearts to the fact that we are allowing people to continually break the law and get away with it. Stop telling people that come to meetings that we're gonna take care of it on Friday, and 2 months later, it's not taken care of. I don't take you guys seriously because I come here, you look me in the face, you tell me you're gonna do stuff, and you don't. And every Sunday morning now, I hear that bird screaming, so I call the police once a month and say, when are you gonna take care of the problem? So yes, I'm frustrated, and I have every right to be, and I'm sure there's people here that are behind my head nodding in agreement. Progress for the town. Don't, that guy did a great job, but do not block the main street. As somebody who had a cafe next to the police station, which is still a cafe, do not block the street. That's my 2 pennies. Don't make it where, we need to drive through there. You want to kill the businesses in town, make it impossible for people to park because there's not enough parking already. So I like the green idea, I like the puddle idea and all of that, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Ms. Snow?
I live right next to Drew, and I would prefer that it not be commercial, because when you get up to Drew, you have to go around a tight corner to
It's
get
not
the
gonna,
lights.
it's not gonna be commercial. It's residential.
Okay, I've seen 5 trucks, 12 wheelers get stuck up.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yes, sir.
I need a better seat, because I
Oh,
can't
you
hear.
couldn't hear.
Good evening, everybody. Mark Lipsy, a lifelong resident of the town of Highlands here in Highland Falls. I go back to when it was a movie theater that we used to go to, and a bowling alley. And I hear a lot about what we used to have in our community here, especially on Main Street. And we don't have a lot of that no more. We don't, and why don't we have that? Because everything has changed. The outside of the village of Highland Falls, there's more development, there's opportunities to go to. It takes the opportunity a little bit away from the village of Highland Falls. We have potential here for the businesses because of West Point. Now, you all really have to think about that if West Point Military Academy was not here, what would we really have for the businesses of Main Street? We would have our local shoppers, but tourism part and all of that, what would we have? Not much, I can guarantee you that. Just hold on, let me speak. There would be not much here for a tourist to come and look at the village of Highland Falls if West Point was not here. Now, a few years back, AOG come in here and they mentioned the development that they'd like to do on the village of Highland Falls. Okay? I myself was a little bit like, what's going on here? What's happening? I attended a few meetings. I took a look at the development that they want to do. I'm excited about it. We have to think about ourselves here as village residents. We have to think about a strong tax. We have to be talking about financially set. Right now, we have vacant lots. Can you only imagine if that one empty lot down there, he backed out and said, you know what, I've had enough of this in Highland Falls, and it became a body shop. And there's no restrictions on that. And it was a body shop on Main Street now. Some of these buildings that they're talking about on the development part with the developers, it is exciting. That's what it is. But what bothers me as a homeowner, a taxpayer, coming from a family with a business, you know, the more we delay on this, and I understand I was on the town board, I was on the village board, and I understand decisions are tough. And you're not going to please everybody. Your decisions are tough. But sometimes you have to really say to yourself now, today, there was talk about the elementary school up on Mountain Avenue. That building is gone, okay? The best thing to do, as somebody mentioned before, if somebody gave the school $1, take it. I can tell you too, as somebody that lives here, for the children, there's a lot of talk about having a community center team place to go to. I can tell you right now that I feel very good about the children in this community. There's a strong recreation department. The police departments help with the children. There's organizations that help with the children. I really think after a $41 million budget with the school, there's a lot of good academics going on with the school. The kids in this community are well taken care of, as it is right now. If a developer comes in and he looks at that property up on Mountain Avenue, and he's got an idea to put something good that will benefit the village of Howland Falls and go back on the taxes, that's a great thing. I think right now, today, we need to really start thinking about not so far into the future, but what's going to happen next month and the next year. We have to start making decisions. My decision would be, let's move forward. If there's a developer that's coming into this community, and he's willing, and we've all been here, we've all seen the drawings and the designs and everything else. This is good-looking stuff. It's good-looking stuff. It's going to bring taxes into the community. It's going to bring more tourists into the community. It's going to bring businesses money into the community. It's going to bring more and more and more. That's what it's going to do. Okay? So I just want to say, please, move forward. Don't step back anymore. Thank you.
Business owner in the village. You know, the wounds of the past, they need to heal. They really need to heal, I'm sorry. Because they don't belong to the people who complain the most about it. The land acquisition happened in 1942. It was decided actually in 1931 that it would be encompassed for the federal government. That being said, what would we have if we didn't have West Point as a neighbor, or Fort Montgomery didn't have Bear Mountain as its southern neighbor? I think we'd have maybe a little fashion of Mayberry, but it doesn't exist today. In 2026, the type of community that people have, in my mind here anyway, is a vision of all local property owners are business owners, and they support each other and this community as a whole. What would you have on Main Street? You didn't have your post office, maybe a little restaurant, maybe Andy's would still be here. You certainly wouldn't have investors interested in where we live. Why is it that people who spent 4 years here are the albatross in the room? Why are the people who want to put their money into this community not welcome? It makes no sense to me. We don't have any other opportunities knocking on our door. And if we do, anyone in the room, please, by all means, get up and tell us what you have. Because right now, we need progress. We need to move forward. We cannot go backwards. It makes no sense. It's counterproductive. And certainly, people like even my family, my husband's family have been in Fort Montgomery over 100 years. Again, ad nauseum, I will tell you that my beautiful grandchildren are the 6th generation. And I'll be damned if they're going to be the last. Thank you.
To it's pretty ridiculous that we can't solve these property maintenance issues, parking on the, front yards, the roosters. I don't know what to tell you, it's just, okay, it's ridiculous, it's ridiculous.
Yep.
Years and years go by, I mean, I don't understand, but listen, I'm here to piggyback on what, did everybody hear me? I'm here to piggyback on something that Murph said about a development on Main Street that I heard that the zoning board, disapproved because of a couple of apartments on the ground floor. I wanna read something that was added and adopted in our, code, in February 3rd, 2020. 26 years ago. Maybe that's why we have no development on Main Street. Maybe somebody's misinterpreting this code. For the purpose of this chapter, mixed-use development is defined as a development that provides revenue-producing use of a building on 100%, no comment on nothing, the ground floor, such as, but not limited to, retail restaurants, eating and drinking places, entertainment, office, civic, cultural, recreation, and yet residential use. Somebody should have put a comma there. In the form of apartments, dwellings, and similar residential dwellings located on the floors above. So I hope that we are not stopping development for a comma or a word. It's the way we envision it, the way you guys envision it, right? It's the way we interpret this code, and our attorneys, of course. So I need to bring some things up. Perhaps for the 26 years, somebody misinterpreted this on the zoning board of appeals. What we simply need to do is clarify either a comma or an and or something. We don't have to rewrite these laws. Federal government rewrites laws for 2 or 3 years. If it's not tonight, then it's in 2 weeks. We need to step forward. People are asking for change. We put everybody here for change. You guys promised us change. So, it's Christmas in July in Village of Highland Falls. If you allow this applicant to put 2 or 3 units on the first floor, it helps the taxpayers. The project gets approved, beginning construction in 2 or 3 months. The applicant starts paying taxes to this community in 4 or 5, maybe, 2 or 3 years. Probably those taxes are in excess of $150,000 a year, okay? So, we can start today, we can start 2 years, 3 years, 4 years from now. Everybody wins if we read this paragraph the way we want to, the way the village, the community wants to. Everyone wins. We win, the applicant wins, Main Street wins, taxpayers win. If you deny 2 or 3 little apartments on the ground floor, deny the applicant an apartment on the ground floor, face a lawsuit that costs the village taxpayer $200,000 in legal fees. This will take 2 to 3 years. At the end of those 3 years, the judge is going to say the applicant was right, so you wasted 3 years of taxes. The village is going to lose $150,000, $200,000 of legal fees. Deny the 2 or 3 apartments, everybody loses. We lose, the applicants lose, the village loses, taxpayers lose. It's not $5,000. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars, taxes and legal fees. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. We put you guys on this board to effect change, okay? Find a way to change. Find a way. Don't let government suck us in and not allow us to move, okay? Because you can read these things 10 times. It's the way we read it. The glass is half full, it's not half empty. Put this place in motion. We need something to start.
Just wanted to come up, I'm not sure any of you know, I'm actually, I'll address the room, hello everyone. I sit on the ZBA, I'm a ZBA board member. Thank you for your comments, by the way. There is an ongoing discussion around the Shade Park project that, we have developers going on board. There hasn't been a decision made yet. The only thing I wanted to make everyone aware of, and I talk about this very often, sorry, this is for everyone. It's great that you all showed up tonight. I really encourage you to show up to every meeting this village and town has. It is so important to hear your opinions, and even if you can't be there, send people, send letters. The ZBA holds their board meetings the third Wednesday of every month at 7 p.m. at Town Hall. I'd be happy to post on Facebook to remind everyone, but we have a public hearing coming up for the proposed project. It would be great for you guys to listen and see what's going on in your community, and again, hear how decisions made here that are echo chambers of what you guys want affect actual development in our community. I think it's really important. Addressing the board, I would just say, you know, you should not be changing zoning for every applicant. That is absolutely ridiculous. But I do think you should consider really what you're doing with your consolidated plan. I'm not going to take off my hat because, quite frankly, I think that's full. I'm the same person. As a community member, as a ZBA board member, be smart about what you're doing, make your decisions, but listen to the people in your community and hear what they want and do your elected job. That's it.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Mike Levy again. People say that Highland Falls wouldn't be Highland Falls without West Point. Drive up the Hudson River, any which side. We have realtors in the building. How fast does a house stay on the market? West Point isn't the only thing. If you move here from New York City and you have no affiliation to West Point is a non-issue. You cannot get on the gate without a visitor pass. This would be the same. As far as the business, Highland Falls, when I was a kid, there would be shuttle buses of cadets coming right out here to patronize our stores. Now, West Point has collectively kept all their business right on West Point. From what I hear, across the street in the visitor center very soon, there's a cafe being implanted. If that's true, where is the ultimate plan coming from? If MWR is doing all this stuff to keep the base on the base, is this just a big plan for the housing? How many zoning changes has this developer asked for over and over, and we keep granting it to them? Have they said, you know what, on those 3 first floors, yeah, we can make money on it. Can it be for seniors? It's handicap accessible. Or is it going to be for an E5 that can afford $3,800 a month? We can survive. West Point is not our only option. We just have to all sit at the table together instead of keeping people out of it.
Anybody else?
Oh, I gotta get up all the time, I'm sorry.
Nah, come on.
Come on, Jen.
I can get up with that. Do I have to get up though?
Yeah. You don't have to, but I mean, it's nice.
I don't know, how many people?
Wait, all right.
How many people here have worked at West Point or benefited from it? We're not saying that they're the do-all and end-all. They are here now.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Come on, please.
Don't put words in my mouth.
All right, but that's the public comment. What do you want me to do?
sense. So if you could.
I'd let you do it
Address
too.
the board, it's
If
one of
you
the
could just
directions is
keep
to
in
address the board.
mind, any developer, I don't care who it is going to come in here and look at the antiquated zoning that does not conform to today's world. Either you wanna have things the way they are right now, stay the same, empty storefronts, vacant plots, vacant homes, homes that have 10 satellite dishes on them. If you want to continue in that path, then we need to, then go ahead and keep thumbing your nose at people who want to aid our communities. We need help here. We just do, plain and simple, like it or not. We will be Mayberry without help. Mayberry doesn't exist, sorry.
You bring something, if we don't get this, we'll take it away. If we do not get this, we don't know what the future holds with this. Over 3 apartments. Over 3 apartments. If the love of the community, which I've been to all these seminars and gatherings, the love of the community is the drive. So now is the profit the drive, or is it the love of the community?
It can be both.
Hey, we need to have a little
All
decorum
right,
here,
come on.
okay?
Let's not
We're not
fall
gonna
out.
cross-talk and argue. Whoever's up speaking has the floor.
Right, Chief said it.
That's it.
Who won't? Well, never know. Okay, anybody else?
Jillian Kelly, I live on Burrard Place. I'm born and raised in Highland Falls. I'm a local real estate agent and I also own Blue Barrel. I just stood up because I think it's important that everybody here knows that West Point comes into our establishment every single day. We have people who have been into our store every day that are West Point. They are not our enemies. They are here to support our community. If you take a chance and you open it, they will show up. Stop putting up a fight.
So I think there's miscommunication here. I think we're making this against West Point. Yeah, that's not the thing. We're not doing that.
Who are you?
Huh?
Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry, I got the lights out there. So, no one is against all the people from West Point. I work on West Point. I think we're against all the development being changed to cater to those people who cater to West Pointers. We're from Highland Falls. This is Highland Falls. We need to put Highland Falls in this. That's it. It's not Highland Falls against West Point. We don't want that.
Sure.
Lisa Pacer, born, bred, raised, born on West Point. I moved away from the community for a couple of years, and after my husband and I had our daughter, we moved back up here. Why did I move back up to Highland Falls? My family's here. I have great memories. I went to school at the elementary school on Mountain Avenue. I went to the middle school. I went to O'Neill High School. I had friends who were on West Point. I had people that I continually speak to that I know from West Point. Just as I have friends that I still talk to that were from Garrison that went to O'Neill. I love this community. I love what it stands for. I love the fact that we are outside of the premier military academy that was started in 1802. It makes me sad to think that we as a community cannot come together to facilitate something as simple as trying to revitalize ourselves so that we can benefit for our future generations and still be able to work hand in hand with an institution that is over 200 years old as well, who, yes, is our neighbor, who does come into our businesses here in town. It makes me sad to think of all the infighting because we can't agree. Whether we are village board, town board, or whatever, we're all people. We are all community. And we need to figure out a way to work across the aisles, to work together. Thank you.
Who's next? Come on down. Ms. Savoy, you had your hand up too, are you on deck, or?
She's up next.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry.
No, after you.
No, go ahead. Terry Payne. You know, on a regular basis, we are compared to places like Beacon and Cold Spring, and these places that are revitalizing and developing, and the thing that they are doing is changing their zoning to allow for investment. We talk about having a Highland Falls, image or a way of life, we're falling behind. Because all of these investors are gonna go to places like Cornwall and Beacon and Cold Spring. We need to stop pushing the change away, and we need to embrace that.
Haven't seen you in a meeting, and you're up here twice. I love it.
And supply, haven't moved. I just want to bring up a point, which I forgot to bring up
That's okay.
before, is that when we moved in, it was very much a community. We bought our home from the original owners, who built in Ondeora, and there are generations of people in our neighborhood, grandparents and we saw, households change as people passed on and whatnot. However, if I go on Airbnb now, and there are just so many properties being listed for rent, or specifically being bought for a profit, just for visitors to West Point, and we've lost that sense of community. I don't feel that sense of community even in Ondeora anymore. And I think that's something we need to strive to bring back. We need to bring back Highland Falls to the Highland Falls I moved into 35 plus years ago.
Logan and Matt.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Cornwall is developing and not allowing residential on commercial.
Anybody else? No? Okay. I have a lot to say, but we still have an agenda to go through, and I'll just say this. On the agenda tonight, there's a item to set a public hearing for a zoning change in the B1 district. The zone change that we looked at is not anything that's kind of rewritten, as someone mentioned, in regards to something really new. We actually discussed it the first go-around, and it was, we had some percentages in there for residential on the ground floor. So it's not necessarily like a new thing, it's something we talked about the last time. And if you're gonna compare apples and apples, compare apples and apples. Cornwall's got 3 or 4 times the house residential rate, size that we do. And any community that you look at, from Rockland County all the way up to Kingston, if you want to take that area, they all have a little thing there. Kingston's got waterfront, and different parts of Rockland County have other things, and we have West Point here, and that's an attraction. I don't care what your personal thoughts are, but that's an attraction. And so while people come here for that attraction, whether their kids go to school there, or they teach there, or work there, or whatever, generations have, my family has, we have to try to get a piece of that attraction. And we hope that some of that piece is that they spend money here. Hope that some of that piece is that they live here. But if you go on like Zillow.com right now, there's very, very little homes to buy, whether you want to fix it up or buy new or buy something that you want to live in with a family. And we talk about the school on Mountain Avenue and all these things, that's great, but I can only do things with what is in our control. The school, we've talked about that school on Mountain Avenue for a decade, at least on the front burner. But that's just a decision the school has to make. And we're open to anything. but we have to work on things that we can control. And you're right, I don't want to change the zone every time a developer comes in. But this is the zone that I would have liked to move the last time we talked about it. And maybe we're going to do it this time, maybe we're not, but we're going to have a discussion about it. Because as I said to the board, if I have 2 or 3 developers on Main Street and we just keep banging our heads against the wall and nothing happens, none of us belong on this board again. So we have to do something, because if we're not doing anything, then the slow death is going to continue. And I don't say that to scare anybody. I don't stand up at a podium to scare anybody. This is not what I'm talking about. But we have to try to do something. And I would have liked for it to go through the process and have one parcel happen. But I don't know that that's going to happen. And that's okay. That's why it comes back to us. So that we get to hear from the public in a filled room like this, because not everybody goes to a zoning board meeting or a planning board meeting, unless it touches your property. Then you're there. Then you're waving your fist up. But this is the process, and it's good, it's healthy. It's good to hear from folks, whether you like it or not, your opinions or not, whatever. But we're going to have to move forward one way or the other. And again, if nothing happens on Main Street, nothing happens on Main Street, none of us belong up here anymore, myself included. That's what we ran on. That's what we ran on. And I implore anybody that wants to talk about code issues or issues that have to do with property maintenance, come to this meeting. But by all means, go to the town board meeting too. I have town representatives that stand up here and cheer on folks who want to come and complain about code enforcement. Well, that's a consolidated service. I don't see any of these folks, and you're welcome to go to the town board because you pay town taxes too, and voice your opinion there. You can come here too. I welcome it. I love it. I think it's good. We need to know what's going on. Maybe we drive by a certain section of town and we see it. Maybe we don't. But if we hear from you, that's the best way. But that consolidated service is handled by the town too. And we're working on it. We have a good relationship. This is not to give them a stick in the eye or anything. But it's good to voice your opinion about that stuff there too. So participation is important. I appreciate that. But just like someone said, let's be as calm and logical as possible. And we're going to get through it, and we're going to talk about it, and everyone's going to know about it. And I know these meetings get long, and I tell a board member, it's tough. If they're long, they're long. That's what we're here for. So we do have to get through some of this agenda. I'm sure we'll have to talk. I'm sure the board will talk as we get through it. But I'm going to move on, because we do have some items here that we need to do. And I'm sure you're all waiting for it, like bills and claims and stuff. So the next thing on the agenda is approved bills and claims. We have 2 sets because we just finished one fiscal year at the end of May, so we have a little overlap from last year into this year. So I have the first approved bills and claims for warrant number 2512B for fiscal year 25-26 in the amount of $15,428.40. I need a motion and a second to approve that. Motion by trustee Gargiulo, is there a second? Seconded by trustee Carroll. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Motion? Opposed?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do roll call, Madam Clerk.
No problem. Trustee Olivia?
No.
Trustee Remus?
Yay.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Gardullo?
Yes.
Mayor DeSalvo?
Yes. Next is warrant number 2602 for fiscal year 26-27 in the amount of $1,088,279.30. The 2 main bills in that is $716,738.71 for the water project in Cranston, and the other big ticket number in that, and that's out of the capital account, is $78,426, and that was for the paving by the Little League field. So I need a motion and a second to approve those bills and claims. Motion by trustee Gargiulo, seconded by trustee Carroll. Any comments, questions?
I'll make a comment.
Sure.
I'm sorry.
I was just gonna ask about the paving.
Yes.
That's the reimbursement we're gonna get?
I think we get 87.50 on the dollar. Yeah, but we got that money.
And that's where that money's coming out of.
Capital, yes.
My comment for billing tonight is that I feel like policy and procedure are things that I'm chasing clarity on. in a way that I can't understand why we are regularly paying bills late. We had 2 bills tonight. One was due in December of last year, one was due in October of last year, one was due in April of this year, and they're just now being approved for tonight. So I can't, and that's only the 3 that I wrote it. I can't understand how that's happening and why that's happening. We have a Home Depot credit card that is utilized. There was a $40 late fee on it, plus a $39.82 finance charge for a past due amount of $122. So we paid $79 in late fees because we couldn't pay $122 on top. So that's why I'm saying no.
Okay. We'll try to get those answers for you. Anybody else? Roll call, Madam Clerk?
Trustee Olivia?
No.
Trustee Ramos?
Yeah.
Trustee Gardullo?
Yeah.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor DeSalvo?
Yes. Okay, next on the agenda is to accept the following minutes as written for the June 15th, 2026 regular meeting and the June 29th, 2026 joint meeting with the Town of Highlands and Village of Island Falls. Motion by Trustee Gardullo, is there a second? Seconded by Trustee Carroll. Well, you guys are on fire tonight, huh?
It's getting late.
Oh, it's getting late. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. I got approved a 10th birthday party for Terrence and Tori, sponsored by Miss Reed at Roe Park on Saturday, August 15th, 2026, with a rain date of Saturday, August 22, 2026, from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. pending COI.
Motion?
Motion by Trustee Olivia,
Second.
seconded by Trustee Ramos. Pending COI, I'm assuming your motion?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in questions, comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Just need a couple of you to say yes. Next on the agenda is a project I've been kind of working on a little bit with the clerk and Schmidt's Wholesale, which is the folks who sell our water meters. We have a detrimental water meter issue, so I'm trying to get them replaced. Historically, we borrowed to pay for these. I don't want to do that this time. I made somewhat of a deal with the company. I am firmly comfortable that we'll be able to meet the demand of this. We're going to try to do it over the next, I would say, 2 calendar years, but maybe could be shorter depending on how things come in. So we need it. It's at the point now where I think out of 1,158 meters, at one point 900 were not reading properly, so we have to do manual reads or come up with estimated and send out the bill, and then the homeowner has to call. These new meters, and we've replaced about 135 of them. The new meters are, I'm not really huge on technology, even though I'm 46. Am I the youngest? No, Miss Trustee Olivia's the youngest, sorry. At one time I was the youngest up there. And I'm not really crazy about technology, but all technology, but these new meters are fantastic. Out of 135 that we have, I mean, it sends us an alert. We've called people, we've emailed people. You have a 2-gallon leak day, we get a notification. And we call you and email you. It's fantastic. It's already caught 2-gallon leaks, 10-gallon leaks, 20-gallon leaks. Some of them are 50 a day. They're phenomenal. And with that, eventually you'll have an app. You can put it on your phone. You're away. It alerts you have a leak or something's happening. They're fantastic. I was told they're the Cadillac of meters. So what we'd like to do is try to do 300 now. Probably the next water billing cycle, after talking with VRI, they feel comfortable to be able to get those done, and then probably the next billing cycle, or a month after the next billing cycle, we'll try to do another 300, and we'll try to get these done as quickly as possible. So I think it's a very good thing, and that's what I would ask the board to move on. So a motion to approve buying 300 meters, new meters to be installed at a cost of $131,176.05. And again, this is the actual meter, and then the electronic housing that sends signals for us to do the reading. What's that? Motion by trustee Gargiulo. Is there a second? Trustee Carroll, any discussion?
Yeah, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
So you said that we put in 135.
Yep.
You want to request another 300 here.
Yep.
We approved at the beginning of 25 the first 100 meters.
Yep.
So is there a reason that the additional 35 did not need to pass through the board before they were approved and paid for?
Yeah, no, we use it through operating.
Okay. And how do we intend to pay for these?
Okay.
I mean, I know you said you didn't want to do a bond, I know that we've done that before, but I think we've gotten much better interest rates on the bonds. This is at a 6.5%.
Yeah, but it only starts after 90 days.
So how much do you, if this is gonna take us 2 years and we start paying the 6.5%
No,
after
the
90 days?
to pay these off is not gonna take 2 years.
Okay,
So the six, if I,
so
it'll probably cost us
6.5%, however long it takes us to pay this off, how much do you intend this back?
$400.
$400 in
Yep.
interest?
Yep,
On 131,000?
yep.
Can you share your map?
No, I can't share it. The goal is to pay it down as quickly as possible. So my goal is probably to pay half, probably before the end of the year, and then beginning of the calendar year, probably pay the rest of it off. So the interest is only on whatever balance is left. So we're gonna pay it off quicker. If I do a bond, it's gonna cost us a lot more money. It's gonna cost us more money just to have bond counsel do it. You'll probably be at $2,500 just for bond counsel to issue the bond. And I don't wanna pay 5 years for meters. So, I've done the math, it's workable. I wouldn't do it if it wasn't. This isn't like a, it's not gonna be on an election flyer that I replace the meters, I mean, we need them.
Listen, I'm all in favor of the meters. I've seen the software behind it. It's a little scary how much information you end up.
Yeah, we know how much water you use now.
They know if you're going to the bathroom in the middle of the night, okay?
We don't monitor if you go to the bathroom at night, that's your own business.
You can see the little thing. It's fine. It's great software. I know that we need it. I'm just trying to be conscious about the monetary aspect.
I completely agree with you 1,000%. On this one, because I'll get to you, we don't know, I will do it, because it's fine, just give me one quick second. On these, I'm hoping to get around 15 years. These that have less moving parts, the meters that you all have in your home now,
10, I believe.
10 to 12, but the meters you have in your house now, when the water comes through the pipe, there's a little, I don't know why I need to be an expert on all this stuff, but anyway, in the meter, when the water comes through the main pipe in your house and it hits the meter, there's a thing there that twirls around, and that's what is the clicker to count how many gallons you use. Well, this doesn't have that piece in there. It actually is like a floating magnet almost. So there's a lot less moving parts, and they feel that we should probably squeeze about 15 years in it. But the good thing is I want to get these done quickly so that we can create a way to just save a little bit every year so that I'm not into this type of rapid type of pay down.
So we'll be at 435.
Yes.
Paid off in approximately 2 years.
No. We're going to be
Paid off at the next fiscal year.
No, this is going to be paid off probably within, I would say, 90 to 120 days. This year.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
So
we'll.
wait, now we have another 700 to do, correct?
Yep.
Or less.
So we'll get to the next water billing, we'll see how that goes, and then I'll come back to the board and say, hey, look, we gotta do another 300.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, we had 900 meters that
Yep.
are roughly not working, we replaced 135, we're gonna do 300 more, so we're down to, like, 450.
I mean, we're replacing the one.
Yeah, we're gonna-
So it's 1100.
yeah, we're gonna replace them all.
Because those other ones, those ones going to, eventually, not long. All right, sir, thank you.
No problem, anything else? I'll take a roll call.
Trustee Olivia?
Yes.
Trustee Remus?
Yeah.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Gardullo?
Yes.
Mayor Gustavo?
Yes. Okay. Next on the agenda is a request to approve a submission of a grant application for water quality improvement project. Grant through the New York State Department of Environmental Control. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls is committed to seeking funding opportunities that support and enhance community development, infrastructure, and municipal services, and whereas the Water Quality Improvement Project grant is available through the New York State Department of Conservation to provide financial assistance, and whereas the Village of Highland Falls requests the Cragston Water Project Phase 2 for up to $1.8 million and providing a match of 25% up to $450,000 to be provided by the Village of Highland Falls. And whereas the Village Board of the Village of Highland Falls has determined that applying for this grant is in the best interest of the Village of Highland Falls and its residents, and as it aligns with the village's strategic goals and objectives. Be it further resolved that the Village of Highland Falls will request up to $1.8 million and provide matching of 25% up to $450,000 to be provided by the village. And be it further resolved that the village mayor, Jim DeSalvo, and his designee is authorized to execute any and all necessary documents related to the submission of the grant application and to take all necessary actions to effectuate the intent of this resolution. Also be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately on the 20th day of July 2026. So, just real quick, right now Cragston's being done, we were at the bottom of Rose Drive, we worked our way up. One change order will be bringing it all the way to the end of Revolutionary Road, which we're in the process, and the board will have that probably next meeting. And then we bring it out to Old State Road. This grant is to do the rest of Cragston, so that portion can be done. So I have Kings Road there, and then it goes around down to the road on the river, and then hopefully to make a loop, and then also hook in Wine Terrace. And so that would complete that section. Ondiora would be complete. Cragston would be complete. Then we're continuous to put in, we put in more grants in the last 60 days than I like to care to admit. So when we finish that, again, that project, both Ondiora and Cragston was brought by another administration. We're getting it done. That's what we do. And so we're trying to complete that down there. So this would help offset that. If this doesn't happen, we have another little plan, and we'll have to cross that bridge when we get there. At least it completes that, one of the farthest parts of the village from the center would be completed. And then we have already some talking with VRI, and we got a vac truck coming, and we have some ideas for the north end, which we're going to be presenting very soon as well. So I think this is very good, and we should move forward with it. I need a motion, second, discussion if you have it, and then we approve it.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by trustee Ramus. Is there a second? Trustee Carroll, any comments, questions?
I do have a question. Is this grant application being managed, or is this going through Millennium Strategies, or is this something separate?
Yes.
Okay, and so why is this grant application coming to the board when several others don't?
So, sometimes they just request it. So on this particular one, they needed a resolution.
Okay.
Anything else? Roll call?
Trustee Olivia?
Yes.
Trustee Remus?
Yeah.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Gardullo?
Yes.
Mayor Gustavo?
Yes. So, items number 7 and 8 are really just to reinvigorate. We had some public hearings on short-term rental properties. I know that I had some board members talk about it again. We wanted to look at it again. So if nothing's happening tonight in the sense of any type of vote, we'll probably, just so the board gets reacclimated, we did have some changes. We took some input from some public during that whole process. But I just want the public to know that it's something we're gonna start looking at again. You know, we did talk about the Airbnbs and you know, their property, they pay property taxes too, I understand that. So, but we just were looking at this as, again, very similar. I know someone mentioned Cornwall. Cornwall passed something similar to this. I think theirs was maybe a hair more stringent, but I just want the public to know that we're looking at it again. We may have a special meeting just on it, but we'll know. We'll get through summer, I think, and then we'll come back to it. But I just want the public to know that it's in everyone's mailbox and to start thinking again. We did get some new information. I've talked to some board members individually, and we might have some new ideas and also some residents we spoke to after meetings. So that's really all I have on that tonight. Unless somebody wants to add something, please feel free, but it's definitely something that is going to start getting talked about again.
This is something that I made several suggestions of edits on, and none of that's reflected in this copy.
Oh, they're not?
No.
All right, well, we'll make sure we get them in. Do you have the edits? Can you email them to me or the clerk?
Yeah, it was already sent. There's even comments from the attorney in there that weren't, applied here as well.
Okay. This might be the original law, because I know there is some stuff in here too, from back in January. It's attached to the back. So, no problem. Let's work. We're gonna work on it. No hidden, smoke and mirrors here. And then the other thing is, one of the trustees had brought up the register, you got something? Go ahead.
This is going ahead, Mr. Wells' comments, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So, a couple other things that we should probably be looking at, is an application, which I have generated. One, has fees attached there, and I would like to see a renewal every year as well. And here it only talks about, every 2 years. I think things fall through the crack. These short-term rentals have a tendency to charge a lot of money, and I don't think it's gonna break their bank. Plus it will generate some revenue for the village if we have a renewal every year. Another thing I didn't see in here was off-street parking requirements. A lot of these Airbnbs that are out there now are a problem for some of the residents. When there's 3, 4, or 5 on the street and they're busy, which is fine, but I know in here it says you can't block the driveway, but I think some off-street parking would be beneficial as well, and it should be based on the occupants. And if you look at the application that I gave, I believe a lot of that is called out in there. I see stuff in here about upon receipt of a complaint to the building inspector that they will go up and at least address it and possibly issue violations, which is good. Those are just a few of the things. I know I have a lot more, but I was wondering what the board feels about that application fee and the renewal fee, if it's enough, or we should be actually asking for more. So, any comment from the board on that?
I think you can comment any way you want, but tonight was just to say it's gonna be out there, but, wait a minute, and we're gonna look at it again. So, I have a lot of comments on fees, like, I took this, what some residents said, I don't wanna charge $1,000 for an application fee. Maybe there should be a fee if you're an actual resident. We had folks who actually lived in the house next to it or in the same house, and they rented their other house as a short-term rental. So, wait a minute, hold on. As hard as I didn't interrupt you. So I think it's something that we should probably have a meeting that we dedicate to it and talk about it. But if we're gonna talk about application fees and renewals every year, you know, like I said, if you're a resident, you live here, I don't think you should be charged the same as if you own a piece of property and you don't live here. And that's a, we can have a healthy discussion about that.
Perfect. And just so you know, I have $250 application fee for owner occupied dwelling. And for those that are not owner occupied, the application fee would be $1,000. And what's happening is these non-owner ones are ones that are generally LLCs that come in and purchase buildings that possibly young people could have purchased because they're getting outbid, and they don't have the opportunity to buy these. Hence, that's why we need to actually look at these. And if you look at the renewal, it's only $100 and $750. I don't think that's gonna break the bank when some of these short-term rentals are getting minimum anywhere from $300 to $1,000 a night. They can pay off the application fees in no time.
Yeah, like I said, I'm sure we'll have a discussion about it, and I think we could try to come up with something reasonable. Not a problem. I think, I guess my comment would just be that I don't mind generating the revenue, the non-tax revenue, but I don't want to do it just to do it. I mean, if we're going to actually hold property owners accountable, then we have to make sure we're going to actually hold them accountable. I'm all about non-tax revenue, but I just want to make sure it's not everything, not every law we pass is a cash grab either. I'm not saying that that's what you're saying. I'm just saying I just don't want that to be the total mantra. And as Trustee Olivia has mentioned several times before, we could pass 100 laws up here, but if we don't have enforcement, what the hell's the point? So, you know, so if we're gonna give it teeth, and we're gonna make sure it's right and not necessarily hurt residents that live here all year round and maybe just rent their property out, for actually short term, you know, to offset their income or expenses or whatever, then we should address that in that law, that's all.
I think some of it is less than 7 days is in the law. And actually, these application, I believe, fees go to the building department because they're gonna be the ones enforcing this. So it's not for naught. Hopefully, they could actually maybe even hire a part-timer down there to cross-reference the short-term rentals on the 18+ Airbnb websites that are out there with the registration.
Well, we could talk about that. Maybe we need to talk about that because, you know, maybe it's something that the village monitors. And you know, I don't, not to take away from the elected town representatives here, but if it's something that we have to deal with on a day-to-day, then we should collect the fee, and the fee should stay here if we're gonna have to deal with it. But that's something we can talk about when we actually have a meeting and get into it.
Thank you.
And I would highly recommend that if the board members, as long as you don't have 3, want to break up in pairs and, you know, have some ideas together and have a meeting, or a couple residents in yourselves, that's fine, do it.
Thanks.
I like your application fees, they have teeth. And we need that.
I'm sorry, you had something before, and I apologize, when we were talking about the water meters.
Yeah, I was just wondering general information, if there's more development, so every new, unit will need a new water meter.
They pay for it.
Oh, that's it.
Yep. I mean, at some point, the board should talk about that, how we do meters. Because you're right, like if a new house comes in, they pay for the meter. And I can make this announcement, if anybody wants a new meter, and they want to pay for it up front, we'll order another one for you, and, you know, install it. Anyway, it's just a little joke. And then number 8 is board discussion law requiring the registration of vacant property. So we had Trustee Gardullo had mentioned this to me, and she had sent an email out again, this is, and she could talk about it. It's another heavy law that's, is needed for vacant properties, but it's gonna require a special meeting or a separate meeting where it doesn't get bogged down, whatever.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a statement that I did bring it up because vacant properties have been an issue in the village for a few years. Actually, they plagued the village, and it's time really to set the framework that upholds the owners accountable. Dutchess County published a New York model vacant property registration ordinance that any municipality can adopt or adapt. And I did print out for the board, or I sent to the board, that Beacon has already implemented a version and their situation is closest to ours. Both are on the back table. It's exactly the kind of framework Highland Falls can tailor to our own needs, and I'm asking the board to adopt one as soon as possible. There's no argument that vacant and neglected properties drag down the value of every business and home around them, discourages the private investment we're working so hard to attract, and let a handful of absentee owners dictate their own timeframes or ignore our directives together. Now, Trustee Olivia did raise the enforcement issue, and she's absolutely right to. An ordinance, any ordinance, even what we just talked about with what did we just talk about? The STR. I apologize, I'm sorry. Any ordinance is just as good as our ability to enforce it. So that speaks to our larger conversation about a dedicated building department, whether it stands independently or built into a new agreement with the town. Either way, an open-ended assurance that we'll handle it, like somebody was talking about the animal farms we have and the roosters and everything else that's going on, that assurance that we'll handle it is not enforcement, and without it, we can't even take ourselves seriously.
Okay.
Thank you. I have a few comments on this. I did pull up some information just to try to get a good look at all of this, and I pulled up what we currently have in our code is Chapter 76, entitled Buildings Unsafe, which the legislative intent, the purpose of these two chapters, vacant buildings from the city of Beacon and buildings unsafe, they're very similar. They have three of the same points: to promote the health, safety, and welfare of the residents. The main difference between the two is that Beacon has that identify and register portion. So I do think that if you wanted to look at this further, we could probably just make a minor adjustment to what we already have on our books instead of creating a whole new chapter. And the other thing I was looking at, you had highlighted a couple different provisions of Beacon's law here. And I was looking at the registration portion, which is what's different from what we have in place already to what you're proposing here. And what they have in here is that the building inspector, not only are these properties registered, they pay a fee for the registration, but the building inspector monitors and inspects these properties on a monthly basis. And then if there's any type of behavior going on at the empty location that needs to be reported, they're doing reporting on that as well. It did not mention what their fees were. It was on their schedule of fees. So I pulled that up. Very impressive, by the way. They have a 20-page schedule of fees where all of their fees are in one location. So they have their building department fees, planning and zoning, highway department, water and sewer, parks and recreation, and then miscellaneous, all within their one document here. So I really like that. But their vacant building registration, it goes from residential 1 and 2 family at $250, and multifamily at $500. Non-residential and mixed use up to 5,000 square feet is $500 per building. 5,000 to 25,000 square feet is $650, and we're not in the realm of having buildings of that size right now. So my thought again came back to the building department in how we would actually enforce this, and if there was something similar in this realm of monitoring and reporting on these vacant properties, is that even worth the fee that it's charged for what our building inspector would have to take on in order to complete that? So just some things to think about. And we're talking about vacant buildings. I know we've talked about the empty school on Mountain Avenue several times, but I think if we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this, then we can't exclude that property.
Are you saying you want to start
No, I'm
fee in the
saying,
school?
no, I'm not, I'm saying that, we very much should be doing the same for everyone. So expecting,
Okay, I'm not,
just,
I'm,
just putting it there that if you're talking about vacant buildings, that is a big one.
And again, this is meant to tailor, and that was the closest size to our, that.
Right. but we're not gonna fee the school, right?
Well, they charge us school tax for the departmental.
Yeah, but we're not gonna fee the school, right?
Why not?
Well, I'm asking. that's
Well,
what-
it's a vacant building that's been sitting for decades, why would we not? I mean, vacant buildings,
Because it's coming from the same people. I mean,
I understand that.
They're not gonna
anything
pass that
going
fee
with
off
the
to,
school, like, it all comes back to us anyway, right, because we pay our school taxes. So anything that we were to implement on the school, it would end up coming right back to us, so it makes it somewhat of a moot point, and I understand that. But when we're talking about vacant buildings, the situation is that they're unsafe. It poses a risk to our village to have buildings vacant. When they go dilapidated, when they're not kept up with, they are a hazard to the community in many different ways. It's all written in here in our code, what makes that an unsafe situation. So it's just
Okay.
relevant
I don't-
information.
I don't disagree with that.
I think that is, but as a technicality, it actually is used by, as a storage, and they are in that there all the time. So it is the difference.
I don't, look, I don't disagree.
Again, it's all of that building,
Yeah,
so-
yeah, I don't disagree, I don't disagree. Yeah, okay. Okay, you guys okay with that? Okay. Number 9 on the agenda is to discuss a request from the owner of 479 Main Street for the extension of the B3 zone district. So, just a little background for the board and for the public. 479 is the vacant property right next to us here on Main Street. Used to house the Pentagon Federal Credit Union, which is no longer there, and the applicant is running up against the deadline. Again, I'm just giving you the facts here. And is requesting an extension. The actual date that it sunsets, the B3 sunsets, is August 21?
Yes.
Oh, wow, I remember that.
It's August 21, 2026.
Okay, so the B3 will sunset, and technically the plan that he has in front of the planning board would no longer, none of it would fit. Like, none of it would fit. It would revert to the current B1. So, you know, I know I've talked to board members individually. We also sent it to the planning board. That's in the packet with the planning board, kind of talked about it, and had a little discussion about it. And I'll just kind of do a quick sum up so that the public can hear. I mean, basically, we feel that the positives of the project outweigh the negatives, and it is in the community's best interest to support it and at this time. Allowing the project to expire will result in a long timetable for any future development of that now vacant land. So the planning board did look at it. They have been talking to this particular applicant on a couple different properties, and I understand the community's frustration. I can't begin to tell you my frustration, which I've mentioned here before. So I was very hesitant, but I think at some point it's something we might have to do. Now, according to the law, it would be 18 months. I don't know if it's up to 18 months. Our attorney can do that. I know some board members said 6 and 12, but I take it away.
Yeah, no, the law says 18 months. So there's no provision in the law that allows you to say, well, 6 months, 12 months. It's a mandatory 18-month extension. But then there are no other extensions.
It's only one.
Yeah, correct. No, that's it. And I just will add, and any board member can talk about it. I will add though, like some of the things that the developers talked about, and one of the residents said it tonight about, you know, changing all of Main Street, and, which is not something we wouldn't want to look at. I know board members, we've talked about it, would look at it, but even if even if I started it tonight, it's gonna take a long time, and I have to have the public involved with that. I mean, you're talking major changes to sections of traffic on Main Street. And that's a whole other issue, that's the applicant's issue. At the end of the day, it's the applicant's issue to deal with parking for that project. We try to accommodate the best we can, but some things just may be out of our wheelhouse. At the end of the day, we're government, we move a little slower, and that applicant has to figure some of that stuff out. So, but I think at this venture, if we don't give them the extension, all right? And again, sometimes you have to just not think of necessarily the individual applicant, but if we don't give the developer the extension, then it's definitely gonna die on the vine. Again, it's something I've been battling with for the last couple months, so I don't know if any board members wanna talk about it, comment about it. Am I saying anything wrong? I mean, if we don't give the applicant the extension, the thing basically dies.
Yes.
It doesn't die, they would have to conform to the B1 current zone. That's all. I don't know if that person's gonna do that. This is not a hostage situation. He didn't say this or that. He just asked for the extension. He didn't say, I'm gonna abandon the project if we don't give the extension. He didn't say, whatever. He just is asking for the extension. Feel free.
May I? I was in support of a 6-month extension, but if the law requires it has to be an 18-month extension, I mean, that is what it is. But the project has been under discussion for such a long time, at some point we have to decide whether Highland Falls wants investment, whether we are going to continue putting obstacles in front of every willing investor. On the issue of parking, the developer has explained the hotel expects to reach occupancy only about 30 nights, full occupancy only about 30 nights each year. For those occasions, they have proposed an off-site valet parking plan. Whether that business model succeeds is ultimately their responsibility. They're investing the capital, taking the financial risk, and will bear the consequence if their assumptions prove wrong. It's not our role to redesign their business plan. Our responsibility is to determine whether this project serves the public interest. I believe it clearly does. The development has the potential to generate at least $2 million annual in economic activity for Highland Falls while creating jobs, supporting local businesses, expanding our tax base, and bringing more visitors to Main Street. Those visitors don't just stay in the hotel, they eat in our restaurants, they shop in our stores, and support businesses throughout the village, businesses that we're trying to grow. So we all agree our infrastructure is aging and that we need significant investment in our water systems, streets, sidewalks, and other public assets. Those improvements require revenue. We can't continue to asking taxpayers to shoulder the entire burden while delaying projects that broaden the tax base and strengthen our local economy. Every month we delay projects like this, we delay jobs, tax revenue, private investment, and the momentum our community has worked so hard to build. For those reasons, I will vote in favor of the 18-month extension and the waiver of parking requirement. I believe that strikes the right balance. It gives the developer a reasonable amount of time to move forward while recognizing the practical realities of the project. We just need to start making decisions. And yes, I'm reading because I knew it was going to be a late night and I had to get all those thoughts together. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm not thrilled at the thought of trying to grant more time for a project that has not moved forward of its own faulting, really, not the right word.
I think we know what you're saying. I think everybody knows what you're saying.
I don't think anybody's thrilled that this is dragging on any longer than it is. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the next 18 months that he's going to resolve the situation for the parking shortfall that he has. I don't have any additional information on whatever valet parking plan was presented. Personally, I would say no to this extension. This is a tough one.
And not to cut you off, it can be emotional because this project, like you said, has been going on for a while. So that's why I talked to the attorney and we had asked the planning board because, the planning board is your go-to board for situations just like this. And I think and this is not a criticism, sometimes they take the emotion out of the decision, so, not that they're not, not that they don't care about the community, it's that sometimes you just have to kind of go with the black and white. So, this, what we do here doesn't address any of his issues, okay? He's still gonna have them, he's gonna have them tomorrow, he's gonna have them next week, he's gonna have them 3 weeks from now. The only thing this does is just gives him the one extension that we put into that law so that he can figure out whatever he's trying to figure out. Now, some of that may be something, an additional parking structure or a configuration change on his end, I don't know yet. But the only thing this does is, on August 21st, the law sunsets and there's no more B3.
Actually,
So,
it's August 13th.
oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong, darn it, I wanted to be right on that. So it's August 13th, I just cut off a week. So anyway,
So my fear on this is 18 months from now, we're still gonna have a Mogadishu lot over there. But I understand why we need to give the 18-month extension. I was on the planning board, on and off. I seen him come in with numerous amendments to his plan. Pie in the sky ideas about where he can park, valet parking here and there. Just so you know, parking on its own in the village on a lot by itself is not a permitted use. He only needed, I believe, 13 spaces in the beginning that he was struggling for. His amended plan came in, changed his rooftop, where now he needs 30-some spaces. So a lot of this stuff was self-imposed by himself. If he shaved the floor off of it, he wouldn't need these parking spaces. He could put a shovel in the ground and put a boost in the economy of our village. Again, that's my fear. There's a little background on what he has done. And I see why, and I will vote to give him the 18 months. But as far as parking, he needs to have the parking that's required in the code. I'm tired of changing the code just to accommodate people that didn't look at the code, didn't do their due diligence before they bought something. Thanks.
anybody else?
I agree with what Jimmy said. But I also agree that we should give them the 18 months. We've got to start over again. It's like, 4 years or so. By the time we get one come around. That's ridiculous. We can't do anything like that. I think we take a gamble and give them the 18 months. And hopefully we push them, trying to get them to make it work.
Okay. I would need a motion in a second. Trustee Gargiulo, second.
Second.
Trustee Ramus. Any other further discussion or comments? I think we need a roll call on that.
Trustee Olivia?
No.
Trustee Ramus?
Yes, with hesitation.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Gardula?
Yes.
Mayor DeSalvo?
Well, I could vote no, it would be safe. No. That would be a cop-out. Yes, I vote yes, and I've made my reservations known, and yes. Is that okay? Oh, wait a minute. He needs to replenish his escrow, so if I have to send him a letter, he's not getting a letter until I replenish the escrow. Can I include that in the resolution,
Well, you can condition the resolution on him refreshing his escrow.
Okay, can you add that to your motion? Trustee Carroll, you agree with that? Second?
agree,
Okay,
yes.
so we're okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Forgot about that for a second. Okay, the next item on the agenda is a resolution setting a public hearing for zoning change for B1 district. The board all has a copy of it. Madam Attorney, do you want to add anything, or just read it? What do you want me to do? Okay. So, again, this is for a public hearing for next meeting. It would be, the next meeting is August 20, oh boy, hold on a second. 17th, excuse me, August 17th. So, being enacted by the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls, County of Garden State, New York, just be setting a public hearing for amending the zoning law of the Village of Highland Falls. And basically, it's the current law that we have in the books. The only changes is something that we talked about in the original law, which was a residential kicker for the ground floor. Originally, when we had put the B1 law out for a change, we had a change in the, you could have a reduction in commercial space on the ground floor for parking and or residential. And we removed the residential portion at the time to the board. We had some discussion back and forth, but it turns out it was actually, in my opinion, probably an okay idea at the time. As one of the residents had commented about the developer we just talked about in one of his projects that was turned down by the zoning board. I believe at that time when he came to the zoning board, and I don't disagree with Mr. Malakot, I don't want to call you out, but your comment before, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but at that time the applicant came up to the zoning board and requested a reduction up to 14%. So he wasn't even close on the spirit of the law. So I do give the, I'm not supposed to, but I give the credit to the zoning board for following their thoughts on that. So the only difference in this would be the little cleanup of mixed-use language and the 25% on the ground floor for the residential dwellings. Now, it doesn't...
A little more than that, but yeah.
Okay, you want to hit the tidbits then? That's why I asked you.
Okay, so I mean, well, there was some discussion at the zoning board about what revenue producing means.
Right.
And there was also a determination from the building inspector that if a building owner has space that they lease or charge a fee to tenants, for example, for storage or other things, that's revenue producing. That isn't what I believe that this board intended. I thought this board intended commercial in the traditional sense. So I think it was important, as I discussed this change with the mayor, to clarify that so that revenue producing is no longer the term used, it's commercial. And then there are examples, just as there was in the old definition of what commercial means. And it's specifically called out that if you have a mixed-use building and you're renting something to tenants on the first floor, that is not considered commercial. So that interpretation is before the zoning board of appeals. This clarifies that, I think. The 25% is added to allow, again, up to 25% of the ground floor to be apartments. And the other, you can have 100% if you wish for commercial, you can have 50% for parking for the residences, or you can have 25% ground floor for residential dwelling units. And again, it does say that the commercial has to front a street, any street. So the board may want to consider whether any street is really the language that you want in there. It's been brought up tonight that maybe it's just Main Street. That would mean for that particular development, it would be deeper, let's say. The other issue, and I didn't have a lot of time to work on this, I sort of proposed language, so I apologize, but there has to be some allowance for necessary, like lobbies, etc. So, we may have to tweak this a little bit, as I was looking at it in more detail. It's like, okay, 50%, 25%,
25% left over, right? What can you use that for? Maybe you want to allow parking, or if they don't need parking, amenities for the lobby area, and just going up. So that might be something the board wants to think about. It would be a minor tweak, so you wouldn't have to go through the whole process again, because once you set the public hearing, I would send this out to Gmail.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I actually was gonna leave my comment actually for the next, when the public hearing came up on this, but this one I'm a little more passionate about. I'm for allowing the 25% of the first floor not facing the street to be used for residential apartments. And I wanna be clear on why it is, because I'm for growth and progress. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I see it on Facebook, and I was walking in the door today, and somebody asked me, what's my kickback for this? Listen, I wish. This isn't a change for one developer or one project, it's the recognition that our current zoning in this area is simply too restrictive in a way that holds back reasonable development. Not just the one in front of us, when the rule stands in the way of nearly every sensible use of property, the problem is the rule, and that's our job, is to fix it. The zoning law should be changed when it no longer serves the community's current needs, or when the cost of it keeps it unchanged and outweighs the benefits. Zoning is meant to guide growth, not prevent it. Now, the story just keeps being told on Facebook and every place else, is that the developers ask us to change the law and we just need to bend over and change it. And that's simply not true. Our community needs businesses. We need revenue, and we, as elected officials, have an obligation to figure out how to work with developers that can bring that revenue and make the space for our businesses to thrive. We really have to discuss in everything that comes up, why do we really care about apartments in the back buildings? Plenty of buildings on our main street, if you walk around and do your field trip, plenty of buildings on our main street right now have buildings in the back. If that's what developers need to make a profit, and we all know we need the apartments, why stand in their way? It seems like we're just arguing to argue. And I do want to add something to that, and I think it has a lot of weight, because it's easy to overlook when we take our time on any decision. Delay isn't free, not for us and not for the project. Every month we hold on a decision, this developer or any developer watches their profit erode. Construction costs rise, interest rates rise, interest rates move, rents leave them, insurance costs rise. A project that pencils out today may not pencil out 3 months from now or a year from now. Not because anything about it changed, but because we sat on it. When we let a good project die because of our delays, we don't just lose that project, we send a signal to every future developer that Highland Falls is a hard place to build. That real risk of holding out, and it's a risk that falls on the village board. While it's important that you all know that my support of this law is not contingent on any one project, I think we need to look at the Shays Park project, as this is the one in front of us, and our planning board and our zoning board now. The developer involved, Baxter, is one of the most reputable developers in our region. And that's factual, you can look that up. And comes to this with a full understanding of our infrastructure and capacity. That matters, they are respectful, they are professional, and they want to work with us. We are not being asked to take a chance on an unknown quantity. We're working with a partner who understands the value of what our systems can support and builds accordingly. But returning to really my main point, this change stands on its own merits. Our zoning here is more restrictive than it needs to be, and easing it allows few apartments to allow few apartments is good policy for any project that comes after this one as well. We should make this change because it's right for the village and supports our responsible growth. So I would fully support the amendment, not for any other reason than we are sending out signals to the world that we are not willing to work with anybody at this point. And we have to make that change now, and we have to say we are willing to support growth and progress for the benefit of this community.
I go along with everything that Jennifer said. I grew up here, I've been here, 75 years. My father was a lifer, and he grew up at West Point. My grandfather was also the same, and my great-grandfather came over from Ireland and joined the military at West Point in 1870. I've got a love for West Point that's comparatively, it's equal to my love for Arnold Falls. And I just think that when the AOG came down to talk to us, I watched Arnold Falls go backwards for 40 years, maybe 50 years, you know. I seen the whole thing. I saw it when it was at its peak, and it's been going downhill. When I was asked to be on the board, the whole reason I said yes, I was asked by the prior mayor. The whole reason I said yes is because of what I was watching, how Arnold Falls was going backwards. And I knew about the square footage and the different things that were holding development back. And I said that, well, I was only appointed for 1 year. I thought I could get all of that done in 1 year. I had about four things on my list. And things take so long. It took almost a whole year just to get that crazy 2,500 square footage requirement out of the way. I support moving this to a public hearing because I believe this is one of the most important actions we can take to move Arnold Falls forward. I believe that I didn't know that when I was stepping into this, that this is probably one of the most important times in the history of Arnold Falls. That I see it now because I try to work at it every day. Arnold Falls has never been at a turning point like this. We have to partner with the AOG, and it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. I believe that God put them in with us to make Arnold Falls I call it the gem in the Hudson Valley, to polish the gem. We could be like just the nicest little village you ever thought of. We have an opportunity in front of us today that communities like ours rarely get. We have experienced developers who want to invest here, partners who are committed to our success, and organizations like the Association of Graduates that have invested tremendous time, energy, and credibility into creating momentum for Arnold Falls. And I've witnessed all that too. Erin worked for the last 2 years, night and day on doing this. She's invited, us board members to get to know West Point better than I knew it before. We got such a nice relationship. The mixers, all the going out to the training, and there's a real bonding going on here now. And how can we turn it down? It's God-given gift. If we want mixed-use development on Main Street, we have to make it possible to build. Our current regulations make that difficult. This amendment preserves an active Main Street while giving developers the flexibility that they need to make the projects financially viable. I mean, you can't expect anybody to invest in Arnold Falls and take a loss. Not only is the AOG came to our aid, they've done so much work to get the developers and the contractors at the table with us. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing. If we fail to act on these developers and walk away, we risk losing years of progress and the momentum we've worked so hard to build. We also risk losing one of the most capable and committed development teams we've ever had. If we lost the AOG, we would, what would we do? We'd go down to New York City and try to find developers, stuff that were gonna come up here. They'd see that we blew it the first time. I don't know what would happen. it would just be terrible. So I just suggest that we stop with all the nonsense that West Point did us wrong or something. That was 80 years ago. How long are we gonna talk about that? Highland Falls owes a lot to West Point. West Point owes a lot to Highland Falls. I see Miss Lent in the back room back there. I gave a list of the prisoners at the Fort Montgomery battle site to the Fort Montgomery battle site, and there were 3 Lents on it. I mean, we have the G's in this town. They were in the same situation. We go back so far together. We go back to the beginning of West Point. And we've got to embrace that they're still here for us. That's all for me.
I have several comments, I have several thoughts, I think like anybody else and everybody else in the room. Mayor, you said tonight that we should be calm and as logical as we can. I do not see the logical reason to have residential on the first floor in our business district. It's said over and over again that we are 1 square mile of a village. We have 1 main street. That's 1 street of business district. For us to have commercial space, and I don't see how residential on the first floor in that space is beneficial to the village. I also have lived here for a very long time. My children are the 5th generation to live in my house, actually, not just here in this village, which is something cool. Tonight there were many, many comments made about children. Mr. Dunn had said, a community without kids is a community that dies. It was said by Tiana, our zoning board member, that she wanted to see families here. Merv talked a lot about children tonight, and another lady had mentioned that she had moved away and came back here because of her family. We are a very family-oriented community, and if we want to keep that, then we need to accommodate that. And the new building that's coming in should cater to that as well, if that's what you want. This is I think it's silly to talk that this is not a proposal that is for one particular project, because it is. This started out, this particular project, I even spoke with the director, before we made the change to add the commercial, the 50% parking to the commercial district, I had asked whether you needed the residential, and I was told no. And then when your project was first proposed, it had 1 residential unit on the first floor. And now it has 3 residential units on the first floor. So that to me is just a pattern of moving the goal line. Okay. And this is a, 36 or 38 apartments is what's proposed in this building. How many units are 1 bedrooms?
Just a point of order, we're not talking about it.
27 units.
All right, but we're not talking about a proposal.
Well, this change is because
Hold on a
of this
second, I just
project.
want to clarify something. We're not talking about a project, we're talking about a zone. That's all we're doing.
This is a zoning change for a specific project.
No, it's
Yes,
not.
no.
It's a zone change for
Okay,
the
then can you
entire
tell me where
B1
this came
zone.
from?
It's the same,
What
it's
was the-
pretty much the same law that we talked about last time.
It's not, because we changed it last time and we wrote it the way that we
Yeah.
wanted to have it written.
Yeah, and if
And
we
then
had
there
kept
was
it
a
the way it was,
problem
we
with
probably wouldn't be talking right now. So, it's a zone change, it's not for a specific project. It takes care,
And it's to allow
it affects,
residential on the first floor. What benefit does that bring to our village?
what negative does it bring?
Because we're losing business space. I mean, everybody wants to talk about not having enough business. for our business district, but you wanna take away our business.
I have not said that. I have not said that, I have not said,
Whether
you know what,
said it or
you're
not,
entitled
it
to your
has
time,
been
so you
said
finish your
often.
time. I don't wanna argue about it, but it's your time.
This is a 30-some-odd unit complex that's being proposed. It has 27 one-bedroom apartments that's being proposed. That is not family-oriented. You're not going to have families with children moving into one-bedroom, two-bedroom apartments. It's just not, it's not conducive. We have the other project from Mr. DeMarco here, 2,500 square foot houses. You're putting families in there. One-bedroom apartments are not housing families. I don't see the benefit that that would bring to our community, and I'm not in favor of it.
All right, so I've been on this board for a few years, off the board, on the board previously, a lot of discussion. Zoning in the business district was at 2,500 square feet per dwelling unit, 2,500 square feet of lot area. We seen that there was a problem there, we changed it. We have welcomed residential above by changing that. If you go into the residential districts in the village, they need 7,500 square feet of lot area per dwelling unit. And we're down to 650 now. So that's kind of baffles me that they can't put a shovel in the ground for 3 apartments. We need to see a shovel in the ground. You know, if a shovel went in the ground, this project would be halfway through the planning process and they would already be ordering materials. My opinion. I do consulting engineering, I do land development. A shovel in the ground would be good faith where at that point in time and rentals are being made, commercial space is being filled on the bottom. If they couldn't rent that space in the back, I would be on the top of this roof saying, yes, let's make it happen for you in the back. But for the moment, do what's in the code book. Here's the code book. Code book was written for a reason. And it's painstakingly written. There's a lot in there that I have on the plate here, and I've asked everybody to look at, that we need to make changes on. Just so you know, a commercial district in a small village in New York on Main Street serves to strengthen the community's economic base by providing jobs and tax revenue. That's the commercial district. It fosters local pride, identity by acting as a historic, which we have, and civic center, attracting visitors, offering essential services to residents, and supporting the overall well-being and vibrancy of the community through a concentration of business and activity. The impacts of allowing residential properties on Main Street is detrimental to the street's commercial vitality, as it reduces the availability of suitable commercial space. Makes it harder for local businesses to attract customers due to competing with residential needs. Now, we gave the residential needs, exponentially gave them that opportunity above the space for the moment. And it's there for them. Put a shovel in the ground. This will regularly impact residents' quality of life through increased noise and reduced privacy. It's not what I think Main Street needs at this point in time. I think what we need are commercial spaces for commercial businesses. If you look at the village as a whole, there are approximately 826 residential single-family lots. There are approximately single-family with accessory apartments, 8. There are residential 2-families, 123. Residential 3-families, 38. Residential multifamilies, 53.
Residential multi-purpose structures, 13. Vacant residences, 70 some odd, but I think that number has changed because it's tough to find anything vacant in the village now, as far as residential. Commercial space, 79. Vacant commercial space, 19. So, if you actually did a percentage on the commercial spaces as opposed to the residential, I believe we need more commercial spaces on Main Street. It's just my opinion. Put a shovel in the ground, show some good faith, and maybe you can change your mind.
Did we have a motion in a second? Okay, I need a motion and a second to set the public hearing. Motion by trustee Gardula, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Carroll, any other comments? This is just to set the public hearing, folks. Roll call, please.
Trustee Livia? No. Trustee Ramus?
No.
Trustee Carroll?
Yes.
Trustee Gardula?
Yes.
Mayor DeSalvo?
Yes. Okay, number 11 on the agenda is to approve the clerk. Wait a minute, you guys tried this one time. The two of you are trying to go to the thing at the same time? Very sneaky. Approve the clerk Heidi Johnson to attend the annual fall training school for the city and villages hosted at NICOM from September 14th through September 18th. Total cost to attend is $755, including registration, food, lodging, reimbursement for meals, mileage, employee travel guidelines per the handbook. That's both number 11 and 12, and we can include Deputy Treasurer Luciana Brown too if you want to. We do it in one? We can do it in one, right? Yeah. I just need a motion in a second to approve both of them. That's both the clerk and the deputy treasurer to attend some training school.
Make a motion.
Motion by trustee Carroll. Is there a second?
Second.
Ooh. Do you want to give it to him since you got a few minutes? Okay, trustee Ramus is second. All in favor? Or questions or comments?
They need training.
Oof. Wow, that was a good shot.
Well, thank you.
Remember that when he calls next time. Say, yeah, no, I couldn't get to
I'm in training.
Yeah. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Appointment of the, I thought you were taking a swing at me. Appointment of the part-time dispatcher Diane,
Anastasia?
effective immediately at the contractual rate of $18.50 per hour per the PBA contract with a maximum probation of 52 weeks at the recommendation of the police chief Twerpy. Motion by trustee Gargiulo. Is there a second? Trustee Carroll, any comments or questions? All in favor?
I have a question.
Whoa.
Sorry. The email that's attached to this here,
Uh-huh.
I'm just noticing that it says if you want to reclassify one of your 3 fully vacant full-time dispatcher positions. Is that what we have right now? 3 vacant full-time positions?
Not vacant.
One.
One.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just gonna try part-time.
So how many dispatchers do we have now? What is our count to?
So you have 2 full-time dispatchers and 4 part-time dispatchers.
Okay, that's it, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment? Okay. Oh, we were close.
First,
All right, take care, we're close.
run out a safety issue. I see that they've been painting some of the traffic lines on the north end of Main Street. Could they paint the line between Main Street and West Point Highway? At the end of Drew, there's a, you cross, you go from one road to the other.
Oh, across the street?
Right,
The
you
little
go from Main
intersection?
Street to,
Yeah, they're gonna do
to there, because that is a heavy traffic area.
It's not finished.
With a lot of out-of-town people who don't understand that it's a two-way cut
No problem.
across.
No problem.
Right, and the same thing at the end of Homestead, there's another one right there. There's another cut across from Main Street to West Point.
Yeah, I actually think that one, you can't cut across from, if you're on West Point Highway side, but whatever, we'll take a look, we'll check it, no problem.
Speaking of crosswalks, for Memorial Park, like Brothers Pizza, you know how the village put in a nice sidewalk through the park?
Yeah.
Just leading into the road?
Yeah.
Traffic with no crosswalk?
Yeah.
Also down by Hacienda when you're walking?
Yeah, it's a state road, I know, we tried to get it across, I don't mean to cut you off, but, like, even like on the presentation tonight, like Mountain Avenue, state road, I'd love to do a lot there, but that one I think we're just off the record, may just put in and just beg for forgiveness later. But the one down the road, we tried and asked for and we got denied.
Kids don't understand the state highway. Gonna try to-
Yeah, I know that, but I'm sure I'll be getting a phone call when we do the other one, so.
And also, at the zoning meeting the other night, is that where this all came? For the B1 rezoning? There was a bunch of conversation after the meeting in the zoning board upstairs. Is this where all this came from? Because the good thing about all these board meetings being recorded, overly restrictive, all those words were not used when you guys implemented the 50% and 50%. In that meeting, there was no concern over, oh, well, we want future residential. That was never talked about during that meeting.
Which meeting are you talking about?
Where you changed the zoning law last.
I think it was talked about. It was in there.
But there is no residential on the first floor.
Not yet.
So
Depending on
out
what the
of
ordinance-
all the public, if it's a public.
But
hearing,
Michael, we talked about it, we did talk about it because it was in there last time.
Well, but it wasn't the law, so what was the
I
point and
understand
the
that.
importance of the law being changed today minus you changing it from when you did change it?
I mean, for me, I could probably walk you down Main Street and take you to 10 buildings that have apartments on the first floor. And to me, I don't think it should be a deal killer. But I mean, I want to listen to the public and we'll go through and we'll talk about it.
Well, hopefully as a board, you can take the public's word.
Sure.
That puts you guys in these seats.
Yeah.
Not just on your own opinion and your own mission or goal.
Mission, the mission is, yeah, the mission is,
No one said kickback, Jen, but.
the mission is,
You guys
Mike,
said you're in zoning law,
Mike,
that the
can I
zoning
answer your
laws,
quick, can I answer your comment?
developers are gonna leave the town over 3 apartments.
Mike.
3 apartments. Has the
Mike.
village board ever asked these developers, hey, we'll give you those 3 apartments because you guys wanna make money? But can it be for our seniors?
Mike?
Instead of having to walk from Lime Green up to the grocery store, up a hill, that would be a perfect spot. You can go to Main Street, you can walk.
Mike.
But the village board has not done their due diligence
Mike.
to try to get.
Okay, we're
anything for
good,
the
we're
village.
good, thank you,
We
we're
are
good, we're good, thank you, buddy. Anybody else? I just have a quick question before, oh, I'm sorry, come on up, my friend.
Hi, Trustee Petronis, 156 Main Street. I think it's important to have 2 and 3 bedroom homes as well as 1 bedroom rooms in Huntsville. I get so many phone calls, family for an apartment in nice places, and I can't recommend anyone to live here. There's nowhere to live. Whether it be 1 bedroom, studio, 2 or 3, it's impossible. Both are important.
Thank you. I just had to, anybody else? We're gonna have a public hearing on this too, so I'm sure we'll hear all the similar comments again. Maybe we should have started it maybe at 5, you know? I know that I might have some residents here for number 17. Do I have to, can we just set a public hearing for that? Or do we have to talk about anything in executive? I know we have to talk about number 16 in executive session, but can I just do, I think I have some residents.
No, you can go ahead and set it.
Okay, are you guys okay if we just look at 17 real quick? Because I know there's some residents that are maybe here for that. So it's just to set a public hearing. The village in the past has had, it's something called paper roads. And it's an old term that even I had to do a little research on some time ago. But paper roads are like roads that that are technically village property. They used to be village roads, they used to be regularly used, and for whatever reason, the road changed. Maybe they were too narrow or whatever the case. They just stopped being used as a municipal roadway. So I think in the past, the village has had certain sections of these properties, whether it was adjoining property owner inquired, but part of the process is we have to set a public hearing so that we can technically abandon it and then put it out to bid if anybody wants to buy it. And sometimes if it's adjoining property owners, they may put a bid in on it and they might want to purchase it. We had, I think most recently we had one, I want to say, what, 3 or 4 years ago? Off, maybe a little longer, on Mountain Avenue. So, you know, they had a piece of property next to their piece of property and they had a paper road actually going through it. I didn't even know it was a paper road, so it was a little bit of a learning experience. So in order to do that, I have to set a public hearing for that. So that's what we have in front of us. It's a resolution setting a public hearing with respect to a proposed abandonment of a paper street known as High Street. Anybody know where High Street is? And if you know, you all know? You all know?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I used to hang up there all the time, all the time.
I heard it a long time ago, I didn't know where it was, and then now I know, but a couple of years now. Anyway, off Cousins Avenue, an amendment to the official map. Whereas the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees intends to take action pursuant to Village Law, Section 7-724, to declare that the paper road off of Cousins Avenue, known as High Street, located in the Village of Highland Falls, New York, be deemed abandoned upon the grounds that same has not been used by the public within the last 6 years. And whereas the said paper road street currently appears on the official map of the Village of Highland Falls, and that the Board of Trustees has determined that the paper street at issue be deleted from the same. Now therefore be it resolved that the Superintendent of Highways is hereby, what would be, is it the Superintendent of Highways? Okay, Supervisor of Streets is hereby requested to investigate the allegations contained in the Board of Trustees' intention to abandon the paper street and to render his report to the village board pursuant to Village Law, Section 205, on or before 30 days from the date of the resolution, of this resolution. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be referred to the Orange County Planning Department and the Village of Highland Falls Planning Board for their report and recommendation. And be it further resolved for purposes of the New York State Environmental Quality Act, SEQR, the village board determines that it shall act as lead agency with respect to SEQR review. And be it further resolved that the public hearing shall be held at the Village Hall of the Village of Highland Falls at 303 Main Street or 15 Drew Avenue in Highland Falls on, now if it's got to go to the county for review, maybe we want to set this a little further than the August.
Yeah, you might want to do,
So let's do
maybe September.
the first,
And I'll send it out to.
no, do the first meeting. Oh, September, okay, so September 8th, because planning's got to, I'm sorry.
Are we only meeting once in August?
Yeah, that's the plan. So I would say September 8th, because the county's got to get it, local planning's got to get it, so that would be the public hearing date. September 8th at 7 p.m. There's a bunch more here, hold on. Be it further resolved, the village clerk shall fulfill the additional requirements, section 240-63 of the zoning local law of the Village of Highland Falls regarding the position of additional notice at public hearing. So there'll be notices, there will be mailings, we have to mail the property owners that touch it and post it? Okay, so we will do that. Now we have to file an affidavit of compliance with the office of the village clerk on or before the 8th, is it still the 8th of September, 2026? Okay, so again, it's a public hearing about this paper road. Send it to the town, yeah, wherever, it's
Yeah.
post it.
It's a bunch of notices.
Yep, okay. So I just need a motion second, and if you have any discussion about it, that's fine.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by trustee Olivia, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by trustee Ramus, any comments, questions?
Just one quick question.
Sure.
We don't need a short EAF plan that we have this.
I think I've already done that.
I didn't see it in the packet for that. I see it double for one of the other projects that we were gonna look at.
I don't think that should be in there with this. I might as well just take it. I think it'll move along then.
No, that's what I'm saying. I've seen two short EAFs for the same project. I I didn't see one for this. I just wanna make sure if we need one, we have it,
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
Okay. And the other quick question would be on that shorty asked for a letter from SHPO. Do we actually need that? Just asking a question. Okay. I just wanna make sure we got all the T's crossed, and I's
It's not
dotted.
developed.
No,
It's just
yeah,
in a-
I don't think we do.
Oh, perfect. I just wanna make sure. Thank you.
So it's not really that type of action.
Okay.
Okay, roll call?
Trustee Olivia?
Yes.
Trustee Carroll? I'm sorry, trustee Ramos?
Are you mad at me?
No.
Aye.
Not yet.
Trustee Carroll?
Yeah.
Trustee Gardula?
Yes.
Mayor DeSalvo?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. We have to go in executive session for the next thing, which is,
Excuse me.
yo,
There's no discussion about, if someone like lived on that property or used that, or repaired that road all this time, don't they get some kind of consideration that that was their driveway and?
unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. Unfortunately, the law is a little cut and dry. When any municipality, not just the Village of Highland Falls, is abandoning a piece of property, and I think at some point after, if the board, after we hear from the public hearing and the board so declares to abandon it, then I think we just, it goes by almost like a bid process, right?
Then if someone puts in a bid. to
Yeah.
buy it,
It's the same thing that happened with the other paper road that we had in the village that went that way.
The property is my driveway. I've lived there for over 42 years. I maintain it. I just want to put a catch basin on the top of the hill to drain out the water because it washes the driveway out. If you go there to see the cement where I filled it in every year with a rice and I fixed the wall in front. All I want to do is own it so I can use it.
The only way I can do it is, the board has two options. We can either take the road back, fix it, and open it back up, in which case, that's not gonna make you happy. Or I have to abandon it.
If you did that, you wouldn't have done that because the other mayor made me dig out the road to fix the sewer.
Right.
When I begged him, I said, it's in the road, not in there.
Right. Look, I completely understand what you're saying. This is what's allotted to me. I'm trying to do it the only way that I know that I can by law. So either, let me just give you the two scenarios.
By law, I've been 40 some odd years. I maintain it.
Can you offer anything that,
Every municipality cannot just sell a property to a particular individual. It has to get the highest value, and the only way to do that is to put it out to bid or to ask for offers. And
Well,
if you get $10 and that's the most you're gonna get for it, then that's fine, but.
I'm sure most people see who lives there and don't want to own it because it won't be a good thing in life.
yeah, we don't set the number.
No.
No, we don't set.
It'll be like click bracelets.
But we haven't decided, it's just, this
I'm
is.
just telling you the future.
No, I understand, I'm just, I have to at least set the public hearing, we don't even have to do anything, I'm just saying.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, listen. I fixed that road for my neighbor who was flooded out, and that person has to grow 30-foot bamboo because they don't like me. This is probably all done with him.
What's done with it?
I'm sure he had something to say about this.
Not to me, I don't think,
Whatever, I just want to own it so I can fix it.
I understand that this is the
Well,
only.
I'm still alive.
I completely understand and appreciate this is the only way I can do it to do it. If I had another way to do it, I would do it.
There's a constitutional provision that.
Then it's gonna be click, click for me.
You know, let's put 12 people in a box and own it.
Ed,
It's a jury.
Ed.
No.
I just want to fix the road. It's falling apart. You guys put a burr up on top and made it worse.
I don't know if you guys,
Yeah, if you look, there's a black top burr when the water now definitely comes down, but it knocked the wall down there.
and I said I'd fix that wall too.
And I'm grateful for all that you're saying. I'm not trying to be combative at all. This is the only process that's allowed to me. If there was another way, believe me, I'm looking at all these, I have a couple of these things, and to be honest with you, as a municipality, we have two options. Abandon it and go through this process, or fix them. So if the board wants to fix it, we can fix it. I mean.
All right, if I can fix it, I'm gonna go up to by the water tanks and grab a bunch of length of pipe. It's 6-inch pipe, sewer pipe up there, and I'll run it down. I'll get,
No, I'm saying if the village fixed it, or we go this route. We talk more about it, we have some time between now and September 8th.
all right, but
I understand.
You know, I'm not going anywhere. I plan on dying in this village.
That makes two of us.
You know, so I've been living here longer than anywhere else. I contribute to this community. And
Absolutely.
I intend to do a lot more, and I intend to do a lot more. My artwork, if anybody knows, I got 7 sculptures in this town, and a lot of people would make more, which I said I would do. But a lot of it is the roadblock of owning that road.
I understand.
And I would have had a sculpture for the 250th for the town, but no one talked to me about it, so I didn't make it.
Well, we still got time between now and the end of the year.
Well, I'll show you the picture.
Okay.
It's me. I was in the bicentennial group for the 50 years ago for the Battle of Stony Point.
Okay.
And there's a picture of me in the Journal News where I'm holding my rifle.
Actually, I think Pete showed me that picture.
Yeah.
Pete
And I
did.
wanted to make that. But
Yeah. Well, there's still time. I will put you to work.
And also the people asked me to make a cross for the graveyard up there.
Eagle
Eagle
Valley? Yeah.
And then they asked me to make a sign with flowers around it for Fort Montgomery coming across the Pocatello Creek Bridge. In my mind, I want to make a bouquet, maybe 75 to 100 flowers, saying, "Welcome to Fort Montgomery." Maybe put that sculpture there. I don't know.
That was beautiful.
Work with me and I'll work with you. That's all I say.
Absolutely.
I love what I do.
I appreciate it.
I'm just, myself.
No, I appreciate it.
And that's it. I've been promised this for years and it falls on deaf ears. And, I live there, I work there. I want to make my, studio work, so I want to make things. I do. I can't make anything big because I got no room to put it anywhere.
I understand. This is the only process I know, believe me, I've asked to research it. Trustee Carroll and I have talked about it 50 times. This is the only way I know how. Now, it doesn't mean it's gonna happen. We have to have the public hearing, the board has to decide on it. I'm just one vote. But unless there's something else between now and then, and we can talk more about it. But this is the only process I know that we have in our arsenal.
I don't want to have to remortgage my house to pay for it.
No, it's not that situation. I don't think, I shouldn't say that, but I mean, okay, when we did the other paper road, I don't remember what it was. It was nothing. It was maybe $500. It was like, it's not that type of situation where we set a minimum bid of 20 grand. It's not that scenario.
No, because, you're making me think like,
No.
just put the house up for sale.
No. No. It doesn't, no.
I have a question.
Yes.
For council, it's called adverse possession, right? When you maintain or utilize a property for a
No,
certain.
that does not apply here. You can't adverse possess municipal property.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that.
And another thing too, I made a sign for the cemetery down there. It says Highland Falls Union Cemetery.
Okay.
And you haven't installed it yet.
We got it?
Yeah.
Or you give it to the town?
No, it's the town.
Yeah, the town would have
Because
it.
I read, I'm like, when are they gonna install this?
I talked to him, Eddie.
Are they gonna do it,
I
Michael?
talked to him
Okay.
a week ago.
All right, they're gonna do
They
it.
were down there the day before, looking at the position they're gonna put it in.
They're gonna put it in.
Okay, because that sign will be appreciation to see the one I want to do for Fort Montgomery.
Sure.
That will be it'll be unique.
Michael and Nancy are gonna make sure it gets done. Look at that, you got 2 town board members right there.
All right, but, I hope you work with me, because I'll work with you all.
Absolutely.
I ain't going anywhere, but I love what I do.
And we appreciate it.
And I want to make, a lot of people ask me to make things, and I promise them I will do it.
but I said there's a lot of things on the back burner that gotta go first.
Sure. I understand.
And this is one. And I'll continue making things for the town, the day I die.
All right, thank you, we appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
No problem.
Thank you.
Take
care.
Can we vote on that?
No, sir.
Yeah, I think we did roll call. We did roll call?
I have 4 hours.
Yeah, I did. I got it. We all voted yes.
Oh, thank you.
Make me nervous. All right, you guys want to do your liaison or want to go to executive session first? It's almost 11 o'clock.
Is it?
Yeah.
Real quick, I have one more thing I just want to have on the record before we move
Starting
on
to
for
fade.
the night.
Starting to fade.
I'm
Thank you all
gonna
for
jump
your-
back to the zoning law. I did ask where this came from, didn't really give me an answer. Mike Leahy asked if this had come about from the zoning board meeting that happened last week. And I think if you're going to make changes for a particular person or a particular project, I think you should at least be honest about it. So I would say that yes, this did come about just after the last zoning board meeting. So that's that. And before we continue on, I did send an email to the board about Diamond Maps. They have a free 30-day trial that I would like to have the board approve to move forward with the trial period on this software. So can I make a motion to approve the
You can make a
30-day trial?
You can make a motion, I would just respectfully request, I did not get a chance to look at it. So I mean, if you guys want to second and vote on it, I don't really know exactly what it does. I just hadn't had a chance to get through the email. Not for nothing, you guys love to bombard me with emails, and I appreciate that, keep them coming. Yeah, no, you guys send a lot, so it's good.
30-day free trial.
30-day free trial.
Yeah, but I don't know what it does. I mean, you can
It's,
explain it to me, but I just would like some more time to read about it. So, and who's gonna do it, and what's it cover, and I saw the emails back and forth, and I did some skimming and scanning, but, scanning, I just want a little more time with it, that's all. I'm not opposed to it, I just, unless you wanna make a motion and get second, you guys can vote on it, I'll just abstain, you know.
Well, that's why I figured if we could approve the free trial now, then next month we could assess whether it's worth continuing with. The annual subscription is $768 for the year, and that's for unlimited users. It is a GIS mapping software, which would take us out of keeping notes on, paper and notebooks, and it would put us into a computer software program that would remain with the village, no matter who's in what position throughout our departments or our boards. So it's just a documenting tool to keep track of all of our hydrants, our signs, our catch basins, our sidewalks. It would map the water system, we could do the sewer system. It is based on the entries that, the information has to be input by a person. And it is something that could be utilized throughout our departments, DPW, water and sewer, and potentially even more than that. But it's something that the town uses, and it's beneficial to them. And I just think for a 30-day trial period, no obligation to continue after the 30 days, I think it doesn't hurt anything to give it a go and at least see if it's worth pursuing.
Can we make it a motion?
So I'd like to make a motion that we approve the 1-month free trial of the Diamond Maps software.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
I mean, I did thoroughly go through it, I spoke to Richie Sullivan about it, and I spoke to Matthew about it. I sent you out the videos for it, I think you need to get the 30-day trial. The only thing that we do have to understand, though, it's only as good as the person who's going to be doing the input, and that's the caveat to that, so we'll have to see where that goes. I actually suggested getting an engineering intern, maybe over the summer to do it, but I have no problem for 30 days.
Is there any reason why we didn't ask to get this on the agenda? Like, I mean,
I just got a response from the company Friday afternoon, so I said.
well, but wait a minute, like, if, look, I'm good with it, we can vote on it, and it can get approved.
I'm not voting if you're doing it.
Whoa, time out, no, we can do it, I'm good with it. But I hope the board as a whole can remember this moment in time, so that if we do this again with something else, we don't get both barrels, because we get labeled as like, you know, sneaking something in. So, which sometimes gets thrown around, but it's not directed to you, I'm just saying in general. I have no problem with it, but, you know. Well, there is a commitment. We're committing, I'm committing something I don't even know how to help implement. So,
Only got 3 days, too.
yeah, so
I hate that.
it's not a problem, I just, whatever, we can do it. Roll call for a 30-day free trial.
Trustee Olivia?
You guys voting or not?
Yes.
Trustee Ramos?
Yeah.
Trustee Carroll?
I don't even know what it's about.
Right.
Oh,
Well, that's a real vote. I mean, you're not conflicted out of it, you just, so that's what.
Trustee Gardullo?
Yes.
Mayor DeSalvo?
Sure, yes.
But sticking to that 30 day, can I put that caveat?
Yes.
Well, that's what the motion is. And if you wanted to get real technical, I think you even have to make a motion to add it to the agenda, don't you? I'm just kidding. All right, so are we guys okay with suspending the liaison report since it's 11 o'clock at night? We've lost, we've lost some soldiers here. And all we're coming out is for is a piece of property on New York Park, having to do with the, wait a minute, take it easy, take it easy. It's about the drainage at the end there, and there's a little slip, there's a little change in the property line with the, can I say the property owner's name? The Airstofts, so it's just,
Where the culvert is?
yeah,
you put in?
yeah.
What are you gonna do with that?
It's just it's really,
Penny Moniz, I live next door to
Yeah,
that.
she lives next door to it, so that's the only reason why I bring it up. I know that's why she's here, she's just thinking it over. But,
Might as well not have it public.
no, we need to talk about executive, but it's not gonna affect you at all. I promise you that.
I've seen that too, the
I know that.
stuff going in it.
It's not gonna, I promise you, it's not gonna affect you. Okay?
It's on.
You know where I live.
Oh, yes, it does.
At least Mrs. Knight does, she knows where I live. So are you guys okay with going to executive session?
Yes.
Okay, motion.
Motion.
Motion to go in executive session. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.